Okay. I We're live. Welcome to the live stream where we do it live. Today we have a lot to cover. A lot to cover. But as always, let me tell you about my fantastic week. What did I do this week? Oh yeah. First I did complete care over at Arbors in Toms River. That was a good time. The folks there really liked my talk. And then on Saturday, I was at the Cryptid and Paranormal Convention in Princeton, New Jersey, there at the conference center. So that was fun. I was inside the conference center in like an atrium, with air conditioning, but it was really open, so the sun was like shining down on me. It was weird. So like I was inside, but it was kind of hot because I was getting all this sun, but like I wasn't sunburned because it was like tinted windows, so it wasn't direct, but it was weird. It was kind of like being outside but being inside at the same time. And this conference center in Princeton's immense. So like I parked my car and I said, it's not too far from the door. I'll walk my stuff in. And turned out I had to go deep, deep, deep into the hotel with my cart. And it took like 15 minutes to walk there with the cart. Because my cart, I only wanted to make one trip. And my cart was overloaded and I had to push it over a rug. And it's not really designed because of the way the wheels are. They're real thin. So pushing it over a rug is really tough. But then later, I grabbed one of the hotel carts. And those are perfect for rugs. Like, that's what they're designed for. And I went back much easier. So I saw a lot of the Bigfoot hunters. A lot of people bought this book of the Pineys, Planet Piney. And met some folks. I'm probably going to be doing some podcasts in the future. Gotta follow up on that. And so it was a good day. Good day. Sold some books. Next up, I'll be doing the Senior Center in Stratford, New Jersey again. This time I'll be doing my Mafia talk. Mafia stories that didn't happen. I think that's the first time I'm doing all Mafia talk. So that's going to be interesting. And then Friday I'm doing the Cedar Run Animal Sanctuary at 6:30. And then, what the heck am I doing? Something on Saturday. What the heck am I doing on Saturday? Something cool. I can't read my own handwriting on the thing. Oh yeah, a wild bird oasis. I saw WB and I'm like, am I going to Warner Brothers? A wild bird oasis, which is a store that carries books, but they also sell like birds and bird feed and stuff like that. I met those guys I think I met them at the Pine Barrens Makers Fest. I think that's where I met them. I met them at a show like that. And they were very nice, and they said, come to the shop and we'll do a thing. So we finally managed to organize that for Saturday. So psyched for that. It's been going great. I've been doing a lot of housework recently, and that's been interesting. Doing some gardening. I borrowed a rototiller and tore up part of the backyard. My local county has a tool library where you borrow the tools for free. So that's kind of cool. So I got to return the rototiller tomorrow. And then I'm going to borrow a hedge trimmer because I got some hedge. They're not really hedges, but I've got these bushes that need some trimming, and I've been meaning to do it for a while. But I don't have a hedge trimmer. I have like the choppers, so I always avoid doing it. But when you have hedge trimmers, it's like and you're done. So I'm kind of psyched. My dad had a pair of them that I could have borrowed, but I didn't really want to borrow his because his are gas and they're like too powerful. Because zoom, you make one wrong move with that, you're kind of screwed. But with like the electric ones, like they don't cut as easy, so you kind of got to ease into the cut a little bit. and you kind of got to shape it slowly. I don't want something that's going to be so definitive because I'm not really super practiced with that. Takes me some warm up time to get going with the hedge trimmers. And then, of course, I want to avoid the YouTube video of cutting my own extension cord. But yeah, so that's what's been going on. Let's get into the box office. So the box office, very interesting this week. Very interesting. And no one's here yet, but there's some revelations that I've been talking about for a while. So I'm pretty psyched to talk about them tonight. Let me just get a refresh here to make sure we got everything. Not too many movies on this list, but decent BO, I guess you could say, for these times. We should be way over 200 million, but what are you going to do? The big story is Scary Movie 6 did 55 million, and I don't think it's overseas because it's a comedy. Nope, they did have international box office. So it's at 105 for a $30 million movie, which is pretty damn good for them. And I think this is probably the best scary movie opening as of late. So you're going to see another one. You're definitely going to see another one. Why didn't they put the 6 on Scary Movie here? I don't know. However, the movie is not getting good reviews. Not from the critics, who normally hate a movie like this, and really not from the fans who really wanted to like it, and not even from my critics who also really wanted to like it. Most critics that I trust say the movie is a disappointment. It's not woke, so there's that. I mean, I support it in spirit, I guess, but now I kind of have been turned off watching it, watching the reviews. It doesn't sound like any of the jokes land except for like a couple of them. And I don't want to sit through 90 minutes of bad jokes to get like 4. But we'll see. I think it'll be very telling next week. Next week, you could see this thing drop off a cliff. And when that happens, you kind of know it's true, right? Next up, Masters of the Universe, doing 29.3 million. Now, this is the key movie I've been talking about. And I think it's because of this. We have been in this pattern for a long time of old toys, comics, games, whatever, being brought back and destroyed by Hollywood. Destroyed in the same way. The male characters are emasculated. There's a bunch of race swaps. Everybody gets a lecture in, etc. So what happened in this movie? Well, near as I could tell from looking at the Critical Drinker and Dieter von Doomcock, this movie's heart is in the right place, and but it's just not very good. It's just meh. Even Jared Leto got some compliments from von Doomcock, which is unusual because he's ruined so many movies of late, it seems. Excuse me. So why did Masters of the Universe essentially bomb? Because this movie has a worldwide box office of $54 million, and it cost 170, which means it needs to do about 340 to break even on production, and then on top of that another 85. So really this thing's got to do about let's see, be about 450, 460. Yeah. No, 420. 425, let's say. Call it 425. There's no way this movie does 425. Not even close. And even if you account for, let's say the advertising's all free. Okay. Still not going to make 340. It's not going to come anywhere close to 340. If you're lucky, next week it does another 26, 20, no, 28. Put it around 80, 90 million. Next weekend does another, I don't know, 10, 15 maybe. Say 15. This will land probably about 150, 170. It could linger on in theaters all summer, though. I mean, this is kind of, again, this is kind of summer movie. You're down the Jersey Shore. It rains. Everybody goes to the movies when it rains. But, you know, they used to anyway. These days, they could stay in their B&B if it has a bunch of channels and just watch a movie there. Why go out at all? Get some takeout and chill out until the rain stops. But from what I hear, there's mixed reviews from some of the other critics that I don't know. And initially, some of them said, this movie's woke. Oh, it's so woke. What Dieter von Doomcock said, if you only watch the first, say, 30 minutes of the movie, you would definitely get that impression. But as it turns out, the movie makes an enemy of woke and tries to say this is partly what kept Prince Adam on Earth, not realizing his full potential. And essentially, the problem with this movie is it's just a weak script. It's just a weak script written by, I don't know who wrote this thing. Let's find out. Let's find out. Masters of the Universe. Of course, the director will get a credit. So you got Chris Butler, Aaron Nee, and Adam Nee. So let's look at Chris Butler's credits. Coraline. That's not a bad movie. The Corpse Bride. I heard good things about that. Mr. Bean, the animated series. The Tigger movie. Oh, this is the animation department. No, here's the writer. Wildwood, Masters of the Universe. Paranorman, The Thrifting. That was a short. I did see Paranorman. That was good. Oh, he did write Paranorman. So that was decent. Let's see. The Nee Brothers. Here's Aaron. Again, another animator. Untitled Henry Cavill, Kevin Hart, Netflix spy comedy. Calamity Hustle. Those are upcoming. The Lost City, Band of Robbers, Miko, The Last Romantic. Not in a very impressive creds. His up-and-coming ones look pretty good. And then Adam, who I assume is his bro. Looks like he's done some acting. And looks mostly the same. Couple other creds thrown in here. Clark Kent Has a Dream TV series. I don't know what that is. So, yeah, I mean, like, the credits read about as well as the movie, apparently. Like, it's not terrible credits, but they're not lighting the world on fire with them. So, and you could hardly blame the writers. Who's the director on this thing? Travis Knight. That name I've heard. Okay. Bumblebee. I heard good things about that. It's also directing Wildwood, The $6 Billion Man, and Pineys. I don't know what that is. But 7.2 on the IMDb is watchable. So this movie looks to be at least worthy of watching it on a platform you already paid for, right? So that's where I would land, scale it. I wouldn't go to the theater for it. I think that would be a waste of money. But as a rental, sure. I wouldn't pay the $20 for it. I would wait until it showed up on Warner Brothers. Who did this stupid movie? Full financials. We don't have it. Who put this out? Don't even know. Oh, is this Mattel? Or who distributed it, maybe? Masters of the Universe. All right. Masters of the Universe movie studio. Here we go. Let's see. Produced by, starring, distributed by Amazon MGM. Okay, so it'll be on Amazon. Yeah, I would wait until it's free or near free if I watched it at all. I don't want to pay for this movie. It's not worth it. What's it worth to me? Probably about $5. Like, if I really wanted to see it, $5 is about as high as I go. So you put this out for $4.99, I might rent it just to see it. But again, He-Man was never all that good. So it didn't have like a crazy amount of following to begin with. We followed He-Man, but mostly because they would jam the cartoon in between better cartoons on Saturday morning back in the 80s. So like there was G.I. Joe. I was a huge fan of Thundarr the Barbarian, which they haven't turned into a movie for some insane reason. I would option Thundarr the Barbarian in a hot minute for a live action film. It would be fantastic. This guy would be a good Thundarr too. But yeah, they're not doing that. Unfortunately. It has everything. Thundarr the Barbarian. Look it up. So what are we going to do here? Well, I think it's just going to limp along and lose a bunch of money. And what will the studio take from that? Well, it's Amazon. So Amazon doesn't care all that much about the theatrical run. They care more about sort of high-end content for their platform, which they see as the future. So this is more high-end content for their platform, and then they're going to rank it according to the amount of minutes people watch. Which eventually, when you reduce it down to nothing, will be okay. Because it's like, you know, I have Xfinity or Comcast because evil Comcast has taken over my neighborhood and we have no other choice. But like Xfinity used to offer free movies, and they still do. These are the bottom barrel movies for the most part that everyone has either seen or no one's going to give you a dime to watch. That's kind of where I see Masters of the Universe. You put it down there, sure, people will watch it just out of curiosity. Oh, Masters of the Universe. Yeah, let's watch it. It'll be stupid. So at least the movie, from what I hear from the critics, had that sort of self-awareness. But, and if you had dropped this movie in 2010, I think it probably would have done a lot better. But, you know, once people start coming out and screaming that a movie's woke, people listen now. Not before, but now they do. And think about the audience. Well, who's the audience for Masters of the Universe? It's not women. Women aren't going to watch Masters of the Universe. They have zero interest in it. It wasn't a toy aimed at girls. It was a toy aimed at boys. And any whiff of woke is going to turn that audience right off. And we're finally at that point. And I've been saying this for a while. Now we have a movie. Oh, LeMay is here. Hi, anything good? Well, Masters of the Universe isn't a complete disaster and isn't woke from the critics I've been monitoring. And Scary Movie, however, which did better, I hear is just terrible, unfortunately. But Masters of the Universe at least has a bit of heart, a little bit of self-awareness, some funny moments, but it's a bit slow, a bit long, and it doesn't quite live up to the expectations of the audience. And I think the audience is small. I mean, I think there are guys, like all my friends knew who He-Man was. I can't think of one of my friends that would go see it, though. I mean, we're all 60, but or older. LeMay, oh, the Amazing Digital Circus is in theaters. Yeah, I was unaware of this. This is another YouTube thing. Are you a big fan of this? Is this a good thing? It's number 5 in the country at 12.3 million. Um, but yeah, I mean, Masters of the Universe was aimed at boys. You get a whiff of woke, you're out. So now we're finally at that point, I think, where the culture has kind of shifted. Now people are aware of this woke crap, and now they're very wary of it. So now you can use smearing a movie. If you smear a movie as woke, that could be very damaging to the box office, especially if it's not true. Whether it's true or not, really. I mean, if it's true, obviously it's going to be worse. But if it's not true, then, which it seems to be the case of Masters of the Universe, I think the box office was probably pretty damaged. I think you could have added like another 15 million onto this movie if that didn't happen. LeMay, I like it, although there is a bit of therapy speak in it. LeMay is talking about the amazing digital circus, the last act. I have no idea what that's about. Let's see what that's about. Here's the summary. Oh, no summary. This came out with Fathom Entertainment. Let's see. Amazing Digital Circus. All right. An Australian independent adult animated web series created and written and directed by Gooseworks and produced by Glitch Productions. Follows a group of humans trapped inside a circus-themed virtual reality simulation where they're overseen by an erratic AI while coping with personal traumas and psychological tendencies. Huh. Interesting. It's a cartoonish virtual simulation overseen by Kane and erratic ringmaster AI. They engage in nonsensical adventures to distract themselves from their situation while at risk of losing their sanity and abstracting into digital monstrosities. Oh, we've got a new player on the field. Hugo Gutierrez Mohammed 4499. I shall call you Hugo. Putting a pronouns joke in the Scary Movie trailer removed me from the audience just out of tiredness. The joke was hardly funny at first. After the 600th time, it just makes you go, ugh. Well, that was the one bright spot for me in the trailer, that they did that. That sort of signaled to me that they weren't going to kowtow to the sorts of people who would be offended by a pronoun joke. It kind of worked the opposite with the Masters of the Universe, because there was a shot in Masters of the Universe trailer where Adam's working in HR, Prince Adam, and he's got his name, and then it says his pronouns underneath it, he, him. But the thing is, in the trailer, that's a joke, and that is not a positive thing. Now, in Scary Movie, it wasn't positive, but I guess they were beating a dead horse, which isn't good either. I mean, just the bottom line seems to be that Scary Movie just isn't funny. It's just not funny enough. There's like a handful of jokes that are good, and the rest are kind of like, meh. Masters of the Universe suffers from being too long, I'm told, and, it's just... I think part of it is it just never had a big enough audience. It's not like Spider-Man. I mean, Spider-Man has fans almost on par with Superman and Batman. There's just so many Spider-Man fans. They love Spider-Man. Masters of the Universe, nobody really loves He-Man that I'm aware of. I never met one kid that I know was like, oh my God, I got to get a Masters of the Universe. I have to have all the toys. I knew guys who loved Star Wars and they had all the toys, and they loved Spider-Man. They had all the comics, but Masters of the Universe, I think one time I met a guy who was looking for a Castle Grayskull, but Like he didn't even seem that into it. So I just don't think the audience was that loyal. So what you needed was a real good hook. And I think if you had a better hook, you might have been able to sell this movie. Now, what could have been the hook? It could have been a lot funnier. Like it could have been a send up. You know, it could have been a all out comedy. I think that's probably the best way to go. One of the clever bits in the movie is to explain why all the characters have ridiculous, stupid toy names, like Beast Man and this guy and that man. It turns out that's not their real names. Those are the names that Prince Adam assigned to them when he was sent to Earth when he was 10. So it makes sense then why these guys, why he refers to these guys, you know, as Beast Man, Claw, Robot Man, or whatever. So that's kind of fun, but it's not enough. You know, it apparently was not enough. I think what you would have needed is probably some comedians to be in the movie, right? Now, there's not a lot of comedians with the kind of muscle tone you would want for this. You know, the closest guy, like if you had Batista when he was pumped up, when he was Dax, and you gave him a good character, that could have been fun. But there's just not a lot of There's just not a lot of comedians anymore, especially not ones with any kind of, you know. Matt Rife is in pretty good shape. I don't know. I don't think he would have been large enough to play one of the He-Man characters, but I guess they could have, you know, put him in a suit. I always say Matt Rife because he's like the most recent comedian I could think of. I mean, you could say Kevin Hart too, but I don't know. Kevin Hart was in Borderlands. It didn't seem to do much for it. But yeah, that's just the way it goes. I just think it was a dumb idea. If you had hit me with the Masters of the Universe pitch and I wasn't absolutely blown away by it, I'd be like, go back to the drawing board. Go come up with something else. Because there's just not enough here. Especially if you're going to spend $170 million on this movie and the trades are telling me it's $200 million. It's just too much money. If you'd spent $50 million, then you'd have been okay. Oh, there's Indy Phantom. Scary Movie is the biggest opening of the franchise, Tony. Comedy is back on top. Yeah, that's pretty good news. The only downside is apparently the movie's not funny. I mean, that's the downside. The upside is they're going to make another one and they'll have another bite at the apple. But I think the Wayans brothers really need to consider that they're too old to do this, or they've lost their mojo, or whatever. They really need to bring it up. So obviously, if you're going to do another scary movie, two of the movies you would parody are Backrooms and Obsession. Good luck parodying Backrooms. That's going to be tough. That's going to be really tough. Obsession, I haven't seen that one yet, but yeah, that one's got some potential. Indy Phantom. Masters of the Universe looks terrible, but Veronica from Riverdale is hot. Some of the critics I'm looking at say the movie's heart is in the right place, but it's not great. It's kind of got a mixed review. A critical drinker liked it, but he did like some stuff I didn't really care for. I think it's probably at best a rental. I was saying earlier. I think Masters of the Universe is the kind of movie you'd be happy to watch on a platform if they offered it for free. So, and I think that's where it's going to end up. It's going to end up on Amazon, and it's going to be free at some point, or $2.99, and you're bored. Sure. Indy Phantom. Backrooms is parodied in the current Scary Movie. It's in the trailer too. Oh, I didn't see that one. Huh. That was quick. Well, good for them. Backrooms, in its second week, dropped 68%. That's no bueno. But it's already made its money back, and then some. So, I mean, for a $10 million movie, it's at $200 million. You're damn right it's fine. Sure, could have dropped 98%. No one would have cared. But I do want to see Backrooms. There's the movie poster. That's a movie poster on the left, by the way. That's the wallpaper pattern in the Backrooms. So, that's pretty crazy. So 68% drop is no bueno. That is terrible, actually, for a second week. Yee. I mean, you could chalk it up to too much competition, I guess. You probably got a lot of similar audience here. You probably got a lot of Venn diagram overlap here for the comedy, because comedy and horror are very close. Indie Phantom: Backrooms will not hit Obsession's final tally. Well, let's see. What's Obsession at? 224. I don't know. It's at 2. It's only at 224, and Obsession. Well, Obsession's clocking along right with it. It only dropped by 7% this week, and that is that would be its third week. I think you're probably right. Yeah. But again, it don't matter. Obsession and Backrooms are, from a purely financial perspective, massive, massive hits. Indie Phantom: I heard the director of Backrooms is like the son of a CEO of Rockstar Games. Oh, well, let's see. Let's see if that's true. I believe his name is Kane Parsons. He grew up in Pasadena, California. His father is a video game developer, and his mother is a therapist. That sounds correct. That sounds correct. So, doesn't really say, though. Indie Phantom: had two friends see both horror films. They definitely preferred Obsession. Well, I did watch all the YouTube stuff for Backrooms, and I think it's definitely acquired taste, but I kind of liked it. I just find it interesting. Obsession, I think, could be good. I don't know. I didn't like it initially, but now that I'm hearing it only cost $1 million and everybody's seeing it, I definitely want to see it. Who distributed this thing? Bloomhouse, Focus, T-Shop, Under the Shelves. Wonder where it's going to end up. Well, it all ends up on Amazon eventually. And Backrooms is going to end up on... don't know where. Probably Amazon too. I think Obsession probably has a bigger appeal. Like, I could see my girl not liking Backrooms, just getting bored and tuning out and like going, I'm going to go, do something. Obsession, since it hinges upon a relationship, I think she'd probably be a little more into it. It would be more appealing, more interesting. So I could kind of see the normies sort of gravitating to Obsession. Oh, and it's in fewer theaters, and it's doing almost as well as Backrooms. So yeah, Obsession seems to be doing well. Indie Phantom: Backrooms could be cool, but I hear they're planning 6 more already. Well, I heard they're already planning... I mean, obviously you want to do a sequel. But 6 more? That seems a bit much. I don't really see how you do 6 more. Indie Phantom: think both have strong sequel potential. Really? Obsession has sequel potential? I don't know. Maybe. I mean, you could always do another wish thing, right? It could just be a different wish. When I initially saw that, I thought, oh, it's like a Twilight Zone episode. But now I kind of want to see both movies. See, again, this is part of the problem with Hollywood. They've they've had such a bad rep for a long time with a lot of different things. People are going to make up their minds as quickly as possible. It's not fair. It may not even be true, but people make up their minds about something as innocuous as, oh, what movie are we going to see? They're going to make it up based on very surface level stuff. They're not people who dig down into this. And they have other things to do. Indie Phantom, obsession has the wish factor. They will cash in. Yeah, and I could see everybody wanting to get in on that. They could do the sequel to Obsession could be somebody else makes a wish, and then it's the guy who's now the obsessive one. Backrooms will be milked a la Paranormal Activity, says Indie Phantom. I hope not. I mean, I would like to think that a guy like Kane, since he's a young guy and he created Backrooms and he did so much work leading up to it, that he would like to continue, keeping it at the quality he has now. Indie Phantom, they did F up the sequel potential of Mithrigan. Yeah, they did. That was money lost. Yeah, I think they went the wrong way with that. But I also think, I don't know, the whole Mithrigan thing the whole concept never really appealed to me. And now they have a cheaper knockoff version called Robotica, which I looked at this week. And Robotica is like, it's low budget, but the premise is this company builds a sex doll, and they're testing it, and it's called Robotica. And the main character is a security guard who works there. He gets a job on the night shift, and one of the security guards knows about Robotica, and he's been pimping her out already, secretly, unbeknownst to the owners of the company. And the idea behind Robotica isn't just that you could have sex with her, you could do whatever you want to her. So he lines up these pretty sick guys who abuse the robot, and eventually, something happens that causes it to go sentient or rogue or whatever, and it starts killing everybody. Indie Phantom, you know what looks boring, Tony? Disclosure Day. Although, should be an easy number one for Spielberg. Yeah, it does look very boring. And there's also another movie that came out, and the trailer hit this week, and I did a whole thing about it. It was called Alien Disclosure Day, and it's basically a low-budget version of that movie. And I talked about this in Hollywoke, another novel. My friend who worked at one of the major studios said there was a division dedicated to ripping off their own movies, because the idea was they knew their hit movies would get ripped off by other studios who would do knockoff versions, but there was money to be made there, so they would knock off their own movies before anyone else had a chance to do it to make the most money out of it. So in the novel, there's a studio exec who's so completely unoriginal, she copies everything from everybody, and nobody wants to talk to her because every time you tell her about a project, she immediately runs out and goes and tries to beat you to the punch. But Alien Disclosure Day looks to be the same exact movie with not as much budget. And Spielberg, I think, lost it a long time ago. I feel like all his movies are these ostentatious undertakings that only he really is tuned into, and the rest of us are just kind of looking at it going, what? With the possible exception of the one based on his own family, which would have been more personal. But I mean, to this day, I still don't understand why he did a woke version of West Side Story. It just boggles my mind that Steven Spielberg, great filmmaker that he is, would remake one of the greatest movies, considered a classic in its genre, and would put that out thinking, oh, everybody's going to come out for a musical that's how old is it? 70 years old. And not only that, we'll make it woke so it'll appeal to a bunch of people who never heard of it. If that is an appeal at all, which I don't think it is. Indie Phantom, I hate the way Spielberg is in the trailers telling me it's real S. Sounds like Asylum. That was an interesting story about an in-house knockoff division. Yeah, it's just crazy to me that they would knock off their own movies. But yeah, I mean, I think that's Spielberg aping Tom Cruise. Spielberg's not stupid. I think he saw Tom Cruise talking to the audience with Maverick, and he said, "Oh, that's a good idea." And it is. It's a great idea. If you could talk to the audience the right way and connect with them. Tom Cruise kind of did. Steven Spielberg, I don't know. Maybe he connected with the kind of people who were at the Cryptid and Paranormal convention this weekend, because a lot of those guys were totally into Bigfoot and aliens. They were super into it. So maybe. But I kind of doubt it, because Steven Spielberg, like, if James Cameron came out and started talking about, underwater stuff and conspiracy theories related to that, people who follow that kind of stuff would be right on board, because Cameron was a guy who, he did a documentary about Titanic. He went underwater. I think he went underwater to see it, the actual Titanic. And he's done a lot of work underwater. And he did The Abyss. So he wasn't a novice in that. To me, like Steven Spielberg talking about how aliens are real, it's kind of like, I don't know, Gary Oldman talking about if vampires are real. Like, he was in a Dracula movie. He knows something about vampires, but he's not an expert. He's not an expert on Vlad the Impaler, I don't think. He's an actor. Steven Spielberg is a director. I'm sure he knows a few things about aliens, but I don't find him to be an expert. Just because he also didn't he work on Close Encounters? I think he worked on it, right? Indie Phantom, Spielberg talks down to the audience in a way. He is not as genuine about saying this will be a fun ride. He is saying this movie is important. Yeah, I find that hard to believe. Unless you believe the U.S. government has been hiding aliens for decades, and now they're on the verge of letting us all know, and this is supposed to lay the groundwork so we don't get that shocked. Yeah, I think you could have made a better movie for that. Indie Phantom, Spielberg is on a horrible streak. He is. You got Woke Side Story. Let's look at his streak. That's a good idea. It's time to look at Steven Spielberg. There he is. Let's see where it all went wrong. Let's go all the way to the bottom. Oh, where's his? There it is. Director. Here we go. The Last Gun, Fighter Squad, Escape to Nowhere. Okay, these were all shorts. Then he directs Firelight. I don't remember that one. Slipstream, another short. Amblin, another short. TV series, Marcus Welby, MD. Night Gallery. Okay. Now we're cooking. The Name of the Game, TV series. The Psychiatrist TV series. Columbo. Classic. I didn't know he directed a Columbo episode. That was 1971. Indie Phantom, The Post looks woke as hell. It's about the Washington Post. Yeah, who cares about that? Owen Marshall, Counselor at Law, TV show. Duel. Something Evil is a TV movie. Savage, another TV movie. These are all pretty forgettable. The Sugarland Express. This is considered his first really big, quote-unquote, decent movie. A lot of people talk about the Sugarland Express behind the scenes and say this is the movie that kind of got him noticed. And then the big hit is Jaws, which came right after. So Jaws, huge movie, of course. Oh, he did direct Close Encounters of the Third Kind. So yeah, he's already done this before. And yeah, these were two massive, massive hits, Jaws and Close Encounters. 75 and 77. Huge. Huge. Indie Phantom. His early TV is awesome. Duel was originally made for TV, but released as a feature because it was so good. Oh, hadn't seen that. Then he made 1941, which, in its defense, had John Belushi in it. So, I mean, he thought it would be funny. But he's never really been a comedic guy. Raiders of the Lost Ark, 81. Boom, right back into the stratosphere. Then E.T., huge. The Twilight Zone movie, huge. Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom, huge. Stroke of Genius, I don't remember that. Amazing Stories, I do remember that. He did 2 episodes. That was pretty big. The Color Purple, big movie. I think he got some Oscars. Somebody got an Oscar for that. More Amazing Stories. The Empire of the Sun, pretty decent, big, decently big. Indiana Jones and the Last Crusades, huge. Always not as huge. Don't think you could call it the moment where his career started to slide, but wasn't Kate Capshaw in that? Wasn't he married to her? Maybe not. Or am I thinking of the Temple of Doom? Indie Phantom, check out Duel, Tony. Creepy and fast-paced. Jaws as a truck. Huh. Yeah, I vaguely remember always being kind of... It got some critical acclaim, but then there was some controversy. The Visionary, I don't know what that was, some kind of video. And then Hook. Hook got a lot of exposure. I don't think it was considered bad. I mean, Robin Williams was in it, so how could it be bad? But, you know, it's all right. Then Jurassic Park, put him right back on top. And then Schindler's List, which I think is excellent. You know, you got Jaws, you got Schindler's List. I mean, these are 2 pretty excellent movies. And Close Encounters. Then he does The Lost World, Jurassic Park. I hate Jurassic Park, but people like it. Amistad, his fancy, critically acclaimed movie. Saving Private Ryan, still, I think, mostly doing good work. The Unfinished Journey is a short. I don't remember that. AI, Artificial Intelligence. I hate this movie with a burning passion of 500 Suns. I hate it. AI sucked. I hated it so much. I hate the ending. I hate that I sat through it. So maybe you could put this at the moment. Then Minority Report with Tom Cruise. It's not a great movie. It feels like a washed down version of a Philip K. Dick novel. It should have been much darker. I find the movie just not great. Catch Me If You Can. I guess this did pretty good. I didn't see it. I had read the book. Indie Phantom. It goes south for me around War of the Worlds, which should have been great. The Terminal. That got decent reviews. Yeah, War of the Worlds is terrible. War of the Worlds, a.k.a. Tom Cruise versus the Martians, is brutally bad. It doesn't even have the good scenes from the book. And there's an awesome scene in the book, which would have made an amazing scene for Cruise. I don't know why it's not in there. But Tom Cruise beating the Martians is just dumb. And he's supposed to be like a blue-collar dude who works on a dock or something. Like, there's no believability in that whatsoever. Tom Cruise's good looks and the fact that he looks so young in it. He looks so young. The character has a 19-year-old son, and the 2 look like twins. He's in leather pants in a scene. You're just like, how is this guy a blue-collar dude? Like, blue-collar dudes are usually bulky guys, kind of fat, but kind of strong. Like, they're fat, but they're strong. Burly types. Like, Cruise just looks like Cruise. Indie Phantom. He did that framing Tintin movie that never got its rumored sequel. Oh, hold on. Well, then he goes to Munich, which isn't the worst movie ever, but kind of unnecessary. Then Indiana Jones and the Crystal Skull, not good. A lot of people complained about that movie. A Timeless Calls is short, doesn't really count. There's The Adventures of Tintin. Generally speaking, was okay-ish, I hear. But then Warhorse. A lot of people complained about this movie. Said it was sappy, annoying. Lincoln? I mean, it's Daniel Day-Lewis. I saw clips of it. Couldn't stomach them. They were kind of boring to me. Indie Phantom. War of the Worlds was also when Cruise was couch jumping. Munich is good, but dry. Yeah, it's kind of, I don't know. I was around for Munich. I remember seeing part of it on the news, and I've seen documentaries on it. It's just kind of like doing a movie based on some horrible thing that happened. It's when you were alive. It's just like, okay, yeah, that's kind of the way it was. Indie Phantom. Lincoln is boring and Warhorse is unwatchable. Bridge of Spies. I didn't see that. The BFG, that looked horrifically bad. I don't understand that. I don't understand why he went there at all with that kind of movie. I think he was trying for some kind of whimsical kind of thing. So, yeah, War of the Worlds may have been the moment, but I don't know. Crystal Skull feels like, but right around there. Then you got The Post, which, yeah, I hear it's, I mean, like, it feels like all he did, and this is 2017. Like, what is a movie like The Post going to be? It's going to be about the Washington Post, but we're talking 2017. Like, you're defending the mainstream media in a movie. That's what it is to me. Indie Phantom. Bridge of Spies was bad. Didn't even feel like Spielberg at all. Yeah, I don't know why he would direct a spy thriller. That doesn't seem like his genre. Like, the thing that's so great about Schindler's List is, he's got these great contrasts, but there's no thrilling moments really in Schindler's. It's just all awful, right? Like, he just portrays Schindler as this guy trying to save people in impossible conditions. And, like, that's all you need. He just sets it up, and then the events play out. Whereas with a movie like a spy movie, you have to make it thrilling. So, but I don't know. I'm so completely burned out on spy stuff. I haven't watched spy stuff in so long. Ready Player One, that got some positive acclaim, but a lot of video gamers I know weren't big on it. Like, it felt like an old man trying to appeal to video gamers. And while some of that, and some of the visuals are just amazing in it, it felt like an ostentatious, again, production that they spent ridiculous sums on just to try to look cool in front of the kids. Whereas all you really need is a good story. And I don't know if you have any good stories in any of these, because really the star of all these movies at this point is just the production itself. It's just so over the top, so overloaded. It doesn't feel like you care about the story at all. When it's that overloaded with things, it's like, meh. Indie Phantom. Weirdly, it was written and produced by the Coen brothers? Which one? The Post? No way. No, not The Post. Ready Player One? No. The BFG? Oh, Bridge of Spies, I think you probably meant. Well, that would be another reason why. Yeah. Indie Phantom, Ready Player One had a good sequence with the Shining stuff, but overall just didn't work. Bridge of Spies. Okay. Huh? Yeah, I mean, like, again, it's so tough to do spy movies because of the situation the United States currently finds itself in. If you're going to do a spy movie, you know what would be thrilling? A guy trying to infiltrate, you know, an a terrorist cell. And your star would have to be a guy who could pass for Muslim or Persian or Arab or whatever. And it would have to be in a foreign language, and it'd probably be a lot of him doing terrible things to prove he's part of the terrorist organization. And it'd be really tough and grueling. It wouldn't be like a fun spy thing at all. The spy things that mostly Hollywood has always wanted are James Bond stuff. I mean, there was other stuff other than James Bond, but it was always the same sort of pattern. We're up against a bigger, deadlier opponent, and the spy not only fights these dudes and kills people, but he also goes to parties, and he has to seduce beautiful women, and he has to meet with rich guys who are kind of in the middle of these two major powers that are playing on the geopolitical chessboard. That just doesn't work anymore. That paradigm isn't a thing. It's the United States and everybody else. And when push comes to shove, the United States flattens you like a pancake. Because we can't. Because we have apparently a weapon that can make you bleed out of your eyes and nose and then maybe drop dead. And then we could like wipe out an entire retinue of Cuban soldiers for hire, and then kidnap the dictator of Venezuela and barely get a scratch. So under those conditions, you need a different kind of spy. Like, it's not a spy going up against an equal power. It's a spy infiltrating a group of guys who have all the odds stacked against them. And when you talk about that paradigm in a Hollywood movie, Hollywood tends to lean very left. And what do leftward people lean towards? Well, they lean towards the underdog every effing time, no matter what. So it's very difficult for them to do a story in which the good guys are also the most powerful guys. And in their defense, it makes it less of a compelling narrative. Because if you know that James Bond has the backing of the United States military, and at any moment they could rescue him by drone bombing a compound where he's been trapped or he's infiltrated, and then sending in a SEAL Team 6, it's not as a compelling drama, right? Like if he could just, signal our guys and we could rescue him, then it's not a very compelling drama, not a very compelling, thrilling spy story. Which is why you have to go back to either the Cold War, where Bond belongs for Bond, or you have to create a character that would actually go up against real threats in such a way that would be realistic. And nobody in Hollywood's doing that. Like, no one. The only time they portray the United States kind of as realistic, it's usually the United States is kind of a bad guy. And then it's not the same. Indie Phantom, speaking of spies, I finally watched Spies Like Us, which wasn't great. Chevy Chase and Dan Aykroyd were trying hard, but the jokes were lame. Yeah, that was late, Chevy and Dan, but I don't know. It has its moments, I guess. After Ready Player One, there's Woke Side Story. Man, that's just the biggest. Here, to me, is the high watermark of what the F are you doing? I mean, This should have been a wake-up call for him. I mean, this movie flopped hard. Then he did a music video called Marcus Mumford Cannibal. Who knew? Indie Phantom, they should make a Bond American again, which was in the very first TV movie of Casino Royale. That would be a twist. Yeah, well, they could just make an American version of Bond. They could just make a CIA guy. I did one for the Pineys in book 13. Hugo, there's this channel in Spanish TV which constantly streams 2000 anti-terrorist movies, and when I tune in for it, some reason it always tries to have theological debates regarding Islam. Oh, weird. I get you need to say Islam doesn't support this, but having G.I. Joe start quoting from the Quran is always quite interesting to behold. Weird. Indie Phantom, he brought the world Rachel Zegler. Yes, for that is an unspeakable crime against cinema. Then he did The Fabelmans. I had a friend who really liked this movie. I think it probably hit home for Spielberg because it's supposed to be a very personal movie. It's supposed to really be about his family. And then Disclosure Day, which looks terrible and unnecessary. More than terrible, it looks unnecessary. Oh, look at this. He's got a treatment outline for Napoleon, some kind of TV series, miniseries, and an untitled Frank Bullitt project. So I guess they're going to remake Bullitt? Weird. More info on this, let's say. Based on the character played by Steve McQueen. Oh, okay. So yeah, it's going to be Bradley Cooper's going to do Bullitt. They're going to remake Bullitt. I don't know, man. I mean, it's a pretty classic movie. I don't know if it's that well known anymore, but I guess you could remake it. I don't really see Bradley Cooper, though. I mean, 15 years ago, yeah, he'd have been cool for it. Bradley Cooper's, I don't know, he's made some really bad decisions, in my view, with his career. I'm kind of surprised he's going back to acting. That's where he belongs. I really, really, really wish Bradley Cooper had stayed in character for The Hangover, because I really, really like the Bradley Cooper who's in the first Hangover. He's such a jerk. And I really wanted to see him be a jerk in the other two movies, and he's just not. Indie Phantom, Bullitt mostly known for the car chase. Yeah, so I guess you could remake it with more stuff. Cooper is kind of over. Yeah, well, I guess it's a perfect time for him to make a comeback. Hollywood loves a comeback, as we all know. Anywho, that was an interesting distraction. Let's get back to the box office. Number 5, we talked about this a little just before you popped in, Indie Phantom, is The Amazing Digital Circus, The Last Act. This is another YouTube thing from Australia, and it's made $20 million. I wonder what the budget was on this thing. I can't imagine it was big. But let's see. What's the budget for The Amazing Digital Circus movie? Because they were already making this. 180 million? 150 million? I don't know. The original web series produced on a significantly lower budget estimates the pilot ranging from 20 to 50K. I can't imagine this thing costs more than a couple of mil. Indie Phantom, another YouTube success story, something through Fathom Events. Yes. Yep, and it's big in Australia, apparently. It sounds like a kooky concept. A bunch of characters are trapped in a digital game or whatever. 12.3 million. So, it's pretty good. And then number 6, Star Wars, The Mandalorian, and Grogu. Mango and Gugu, $10 million, dropping 59%, dropping like a rock. In its third week, 293 million. We're just about done. We're just about ready to stick a fork in this. 293 million. So next week, maybe it hits another 5 million. Maybe another 3 million overseas. Maybe 10 million for the week. Cracks 300. But that's still not going to be enough. Needs to do 330 plus 80, 85. Needs to do about 410. Probably going to lose at least $100 million. Indie Phantom. I predict Disclosure Day will not open as high as Backrooms and might struggle to even open bigger than Scary Movie. Mango and Gugu bites the dust. Yep, it's just about done. And maybe Star Wars is too, at least for a while. I mean, they waited 7 years. I can't believe it's only been 7 years since the last Star Wars movie. So that would have been 2018? No, 2019. I think you need to wait longer. I think you need to wait 20 years. You need to wait long enough so that there's almost no one left from the original cast. That people have forgotten about it. That's really the key. If people had forgotten about Star Wars, and then you release something halfway decent, maybe it works. But I think you just keep releasing stuff just because we can still make some money. We can still make some money. It's like a degenerate gambler won't quit. I mean, after The Alkalite, the people at Disney really should have sat down and went, we got to stop releasing stuff. we gotta really stop. That's what should have happened. A bunch of people should have been fired, and then whoever was left should have been like, I'm not releasing any Star Wars. Hugo, the name by itself was a mistake. Most people don't even know the green thing is called Grogu. Yeah, I would agree with that. I think most people think it's just Yoda or Baby Yoda. Indie Phantom, critics might not even get behind Starfighter because they hate that it's Gosling and not a female lead. Possibly. I just don't think... I just think the fans are so burned out now. So, Gosling has his fans, and a lot of them are female, but again, what is Star Wars? Star Wars is a brand aimed at boys. It was based after Flash Gordon and Lord of the Rings and the Seven Samurai. These are all things that appeal to males. There's not a single thing in there that women will go, ooh. Unless the Starfighter character is selling shoes, I don't think I could get my girlfriend to watch this movie. Now, there's going to be a handful of women who'll go, oh, I'll watch it if, Ryan Gosling has his shirt off, but those are few and far between. They're not going to want to sit through a whole action movie just for one shirtless scene with Ryan Gosling. They're just not. They would rather wait until another movie like La La Land comes out. That's romantic and has him dancing and singing with a girl, and they can imagine themselves in the role of the girl. I would say. Indie Phantom, man, I can't wait to hear the numbers on Supergirl. I know, right? It's going to be a disaster. When's that coming out? Is that next week? When does Supergirl release? June 26th? No, a couple more weeks. June 26th. Clint Miller's here. Hi, Tony, Phantom, Hugo, LeMay, and whoever else is listening tonight. Joe Muir Hobbs just entered the chat. Hey, what's up? Not much, Joe Muir Hobbs, other than the box office. Indie Phantom, isn't Starfire being dumped in February? Clint Miller says, hey, Joe Muir. Let's see. When does Starfighter release? If it releases in February, no, May 27th. May 28th, 2027. So that's a good time for a good movie to release. I don't know about Starfighter, but if they dropped it in February, it would guarantee be the #1 movie. But that would be a sure sign that it's absolute garbage, because that's where they dump movies in hopes that, oh, there's no competition. Indie Phantom, howdy, Clint, Joe Muir. So yeah, I think they have some good feeling about Starfighter because Ryan Gosling's in it. Now, Ryan Gosling has said a lot of positive things about filmmaking, so I can't imagine he would just sign on to this movie and just go along with the Disney program of, oh, we're going to emasculate you and ruin this IP some more. I gotta imagine he'll say, hey, guys, why don't we try to entertain the audience? So, I think he's a big enough star that he could push it in a good direction. But that's not really the issue. The issue is it's called Star Wars. And we've had flop after flop after flop after flop after flop. And now you're going to put out another one next year, right after another flop. I don't know, man. And it is a sequel, essentially, to The Rise of Skywalker. Another, basically, flop, in my view. I don't think financially it was a flop, but it's kind of a flop. It takes place 5 years after the Rise of Skywalker. And the rumor is they're going to make Rey return, which would be a disaster, because I think she's too much of a Mary Sue, and I think she's too much of a hated character. Indie Phantom. Jesus, thought it was almost the same weekend as Goo Goo a year later. Clint Miller, The Last Starfighter, LOL. Is there also Flying Moose like there was in 1979 or so movie? I don't know. Indie Phantom. It seems like Solo was a May release and Star Wars recently had better success around Christmas. The Return of Rey. Yeah, I don't... At this point, is it really a Christmas movie to go see Star Wars? It doesn't feel like a family movie. Hugo, the Star Wars sequels were so bad. How bad were they? They were so bad, they led to the biggest reactionary wave of this millennium so far. It's true. It's not funny, but it's true. Yeah, I'm just teasing. Yeah, I mean, it's just that everything's all effed up. You need a movie to fix everything. It doesn't sound like Starfighter's going to be that movie, but it could be, I guess. But to me, if you want to fix this franchise, you have to somehow delete everything except the original 3 movies. And I don't know how you do that. Clint Miller, Die Hard in Space? That could be fun. I mean, you could drop this movie 5 years after Rey and not put her in it and start a completely new lore with Ryan Gosling's character and whoever the kid is, right? That would be potential. But then you'd be writing the whole movie on, everything but the original characters. See, it was the original characters people liked. Luke, Han, and Leia. Han's dead. The actress who played Leia's dead. So, and technically Luke's dead. So, you've effed this up. And good luck getting Mark Hamill back. I mean, you'd have to drive the money truck to his house 5 times. And Harrison Ford's just done. I don't want you to put him back in the movie. Indie Phantom, Mangu and Gugu was supposed to fix it, Tony. How did that work out? Yeah, I mean, these guys are just delusional at this point. What you could maybe do is a TV show on network TV that actually appealed to everyone, and stop doing movies for 10 years while you did a Star Wars TV show that was on network TV for free. I know it sounds radical, but I'm pretty sure you could sell commercials on a Star Wars TV show. But the problem is this. The whole point of Star Wars was the Empire versus the Rebels. Once you get past the prequels and the sequels, there's no more Empire. So you need either a new enemy or you need to resurrect the Empire again. I don't really want you to resurrect the Empire for the umpteenth time. So I think you need a new threat. So, and in that case, you might as well come up with a different movie. Because it would be a different movie series. So, like, in the video games, they had zombie troopers, right? Let's say you did a whole zombie thing. Well, that would be a completely different movie. It'd be fun, but it'd be a different movie. It wouldn't be about Jedis. It'd be about zombies. So, just do a new movie. Just abandon all this crap. I say, but they spent $1 billion or $4 billion or whatever they spent. Indie Phantom, Mangu and Gugu was supposed to fix it. I read that one. Indie Phantom, nobody wants Mark Hamill back. We want him in rehab for TDS. Well, that's a little easier said than done. These people, their TDS is too far gone. You might be able to fix it, I guess, with an AI Mark Hamill, an AI Luke Skywalker, as a young man, and you could, if you did a TV series long enough to make people forget about the sequels, and then you just did the books as it was supposed to happen, maybe. Then maybe you could make people forget about the sequels and just pretend like, oh, that was a different alternate timeline. See, this is why I say you could do it as a TV show. Again, it would have to be network TV. Obviously, doing it on Disney Plus has not worked out. I don't know why they're doing TV on Disney Plus. Like, I don't even know what you call it. It's TV for people who hate Star Wars, I guess, and would love to see you do another terrible Star Wars TV show. Like, what is Disney Plus for? Clint Miller, the TDS is strong in this one. This is not the Trump you're looking for. This is not the Trump we're looking for. Yeah, I think you could maybe do a TV show, right? And you could, the first thing you would have to do is establish a group of characters that everybody liked. And then you'd build them up. Let's say you build them up for 5 years, right? And by the 5th year, you know people are watching the damn show. It has good ratings. Everybody likes it. And at that point, you do a storyline explaining the alternate timelines in Star Wars. And one of those alternate timelines is the one in which all that crap happened. And then the events in the TV show fix that. Then you start fresh and basically say, oh no, that was an alternate timeline. That was the dark timeline. We're not going down that one because of the events of the TV show. Now there's a new timeline. And then you go to another sequel in which there are a couple of similarities with the first sequel movie, like maybe you bring back the New Order again, maybe even bring back Adam Driver's character, but somebody else plays him, and then you do the movies right. You bring back Finn. You bring back them all. But only this time it's actual Star Wars, right? You don't bring back Rose Tico though. I would just out of spite, I wouldn't bring her back. Where you bring her back and have her die in the first scene. Rose Tico! Ah! Hugo. I'd say they need a less wide... I'd say they need less wide or low-stakes stories, not creating more and more characters that have galaxy-wide consequences, which has led to a small galaxy problem. Early Mandalorian was like that. I agree with you. That's an excellent point. Because if you go to smaller stakes, the stories tend to be more interesting. And that's why I say television, because typically the television, you can create lower stakes. And the reason I say 5 years, because by the end of 5 years, you could ramp up those stakes to the movie level without, unduly compromising the show. And then you could do that show I mentioned to fix things. And you could even, at the end of it, just have the characters go, okay, that's settled, and let's go back to what we were doing. Or you could end the series and then spin them off into a movie that people would like, because you already know people like those characters because we've been doing the show for 5 years. I've said this for a long time, that they needed to take network shows that people liked, certain ones, not all of them, but network shows that people liked, and spin them into movies at the end. Instead of having a finale on the TV, why not have a finale on the movie screen? You could always show it on TV later. Clint Miller, a century later would be a good restart as opposed to the alternate timeline, in my humble opinion. That could work, sure. But then you would also be saying that Rey and whatever Adam Driver's... I forget Adam Driver's character's name. Ray... It wasn't Raylo. They called their couple name Raylo. It was something else. Then you would be keeping that timeline. But then you could go back and alter it somehow and show it in a different context. But I would want to eliminate it. But that's just my impulse as a hater of the prequels and sequels. Indy Phantom. I think just letting Star Wars die would be the best plan. Clint Miller. Good point, Indy. Indy Phantom. Puts on cool sunglasses. Emoji. Yeah, I mean... that would be ideal, but when they spend $4 billion on a product, they can't let this go. Because it's probably part of their corporate paradigm, right? We own it. Why should we spend money on a new guy's idea when we own this idea? Because otherwise we got to cut that guy in. And otherwise we got to talk to him. I mean, this is why they should have talked to George Lucas, right? Because he was still alive. And he created Star Wars, and they should have listened to his plans. By the way, for those of you who don't know, when Lucas sold Disney Star Wars, he gave them a plan. It was a plan to do the sequels, and they completely ignored it. They just said, "Oh, that's very nice, George." Trash. But they didn't even need Lucas's plan. They just needed to take the books that had already been written. There's been dozens of Star Wars books that take place after the original characters, and they include the original characters often, and some of them a lot of fans love. They completely botched that, right? There was a history there where Luke Skywalker has kids with a character called Mara Jade, and she's a Jedi too, and his kids have Jedi powers, the whole thing. But they just said, no, nah. So, yeah, I don't think The Last Starfighter's going to make much of a dent. It might do okay, which will actually do the wrong thing, right? So let's say they put out the last, or Starfighter. I almost called it The Last Starfighter. It's just Star Wars Starfighter. And, I don't know, it cost, let's say it cost. Let's see how much it cost. I'm gonna guess it cost $200 million. What's the budget for Star Wars Starfighter? I'm gonna guess 200 million. Whoa, 200 to 250 million. Yeah. Indie Phantom. Think everyone doubted Lucas after the prequels, but in hindsight, what a dumb thing to ignore him. Yeah, exactly. I mean, look, I hate the prequels. I walked right out of Phantom Menace and just said, done. And my friends thought I was nuts, but that movie sucked, in my view. But you got to respect the guy's vision. I mean, how much worse could a sequels from Lucas have been? Not much worse than those prequels. Probably would have done better. I mean, I get kind of what Hollywood wanted to do. They wanted to put a new sheen on it, right? And that sheen was J.J. Abrams and his friggin' mystery boxes. Unfortunately, he was, in my view, he was part of the problem too. In that time period, I don't know who you could have gotten, really. Rennie Harlan, Michael Bay. But they weren't in vogue at that time either. Zack Snyder, although the screenplay would have been incomprehensible, most likely, if he wrote it. I mean, you probably would have gotten Rebel Moon done as Star Wars. Indie Phantom. Starfighter will probably be the next Rogue One, but won't make as much because of the hole they're already in. Yeah, 200 and 250 million. I don't see it making that much money, even if it's good. Like, it might be okay, but I bet it does like 100 million the first weekend. Like, which would be reasonable, but that's not enough. It's just not enough. You can't make your money back. If it makes 100 million the first weekend, it makes 100 million overseas. That's 200 million. Then another 100 million goes in half. So 200 million, 300 million, 350, 375. Peters out around 400. Breaks even maybe for the production, but you're talking another 100 million in advertising. The thing needs to make like 500, 600 million dollars. And like, Disney is not going to skimp on the advertising. So maybe if you tear away all the bookkeeping things that I suspect everyone in Hollywood does, maybe it makes a little bit of money, but maybe it doesn't really cost 200 to 250 million. Maybe it really costs 50 million, but they inflate all the numbers somehow and then steal all the money, essentially. Or just hide it because the government thinks, oh, they didn't make that much. Oh, they actually lost 50 million. No, they actually made 150. You just don't see that because it's all hidden in their company. Maybe. I don't know. I mean, if the formula's right, they would have to make like $600 million. So I don't think it'll make that. But whatever. They might make it back on toys. Like, if the movie does decently, even if it only loses 50 million and then or breaks even, Disney does have the toys, so there's that. I don't know. I'm just so sick of Star Wars. I really am. Number 7 is Michael, dropping from 7.7 million. That's pretty good for a movie that's been out for 45 days. Number 8, dropping from 5. This is in a second week. It's The Breadwinner with Nate Bargatze, 3.4 million. It dropped 54. Not great, but not a complete disaster. Because I don't think this movie... How much did it cost? Okay. Budget for The Breadwinner. I'd say 30 million, maybe. 25 million. So that is not money. That is not going to make its money. Clint Miller, the merchandising. That's the way he spelled it, the way I just said it. The merchandising. Breadwinner, yeah, this can't make its money. It's done. It's cooked. Indie Phantom, The Breadwinner, probably going to break even or better. I don't think so. Not if it costs 25 million. Indie Phantom, damn. Yeah, I mean, so it's at 13 million. Maybe it makes another 5 million this week, but it really needs to make 50. It ain't going to make 50. Number 9, dropping from 7, also in its second week, is Pressure. It only dropped by 48%, which is good, but really it's $3 million for $11 million on a movie that cost... Oh, this movie had to cost some money. This movie's got to cost $50 million at least. Oh, really? Only $30 million. Okay. $30 million? Yeah, it's cooked. Yeah, this is in worse shape than The Breadwinner because it's made less money, and I don't even know why they made it. Indie Phantom, not really a hot summer title. It's not a movie. This is a movie you release in February, Pressure. Or you release it in during Christmas, hoping to get in time for the Oscars or whatever, but that's the only thing I can think of. This is a movie, they drop it on the History Channel or A&E on a Sunday 10 years from now, and that's when people actually kind of watch it. And then maybe they have in between the commercial a guy saying, well, yeah, Dwight D. Eisenhower, he was... You know, the movie portrays it like this, but it was really a little more like this. Hugo. With such a deficit, they must be under pressure. Ba-dum-bump. Whoa, Hugo. Hugo bringing the heat in the comment section. Very nice. Number 10, dropping from 6, The Devil Wears Prada 2, 2.8 million. This movie's still making some money. Crazy. That's, let's see, is that the, yeah, it's kind of the only movie so far on this list that really is aimed at women. Maybe Michael, but a lot of women I know don't want to see Michael because they believe the hype. But, yeah, that's kind of still the only girl movie on the list, it looks like. Indie Phantom, at least this is the last week we have to see The Devil Wears Prada in the top 10. Hopefully. I don't know. We'll see what's happening next week. Number 11 is The Sheep Detectives, dropping from 8, 2.2 million. This looks like a cute movie, but it can't make it. It's another movie that's not going to make its money back. Number 12 is Power Ballad, up from 17. Oh, it wasn't in many theaters. They dropped it in more theaters. Yeah, this movie, I don't think this is doing well. And it's made a little less than 2 million. I would say this movie cost at least 15? 8 million. That's an estimate, a very loose estimate. Yeah, it's not going to make it back. It's got one of the Jonas Brothers in it and Paul Rudd. There's your problem. They just don't have an audience anymore. Look, I love Paul Rudd, but I'm not going to go see it. They tried to bill it. Like, I watched the trailer. It looked kind of dumb. It sort of didn't look like a comedy, and it didn't look like a drama. So I didn't know what to think of it, really. Indie Phantom, cute doesn't cut it in the world of hardcore box office grind. Damn right. Talking about The Sheep Detectives. But with Power Ballad, Like, if they had pushed it as a comedy, maybe you could have broken even with 8 million, but I don't know what you were pushing it with that trailer. I didn't think it was that intense, and I didn't think it was funny. So you're just wasting my time. Indie Phantom. Paul Rudd lost me pimping COVID mask. He's out. He made a great cameo in This Is the End. He is funny when he really wants to be. I mean, he's so great in Anchorman, but I think now he's just in a bunch of stuff. And he strikes me as one of those actors who just, yeah, I'll do it. Well, they've got money? Yeah, I'll do it. And that's fine. You can be that way. But, it can damage your career, I think, in the long term, because people just eventually go, oh, it's Paul Rudd. Who cares? But he used to be in, like if you saw Paul Rudd, it was like, oh, it's going to be a funny movie. But he has been in a bunch of terrible comedies of late. Indie Phantom. I did enjoy the darkly quirky Friendship with Paul Rudd last year. I couldn't get through that movie. I got about 20 minutes in, and it wasn't Paul Rudd. I hate the other guy. What's his name? I want to say Craig Robinson, but that's not his name. I forget it, but God, I hate him. Indie Phantom. Wasn't Anaconda hot, Tony? Oh, I forgot about Anaconda. I don't think Anaconda was his fault, though. I blame that mostly on Thandie Newton. Thandie Newton was horribly miscast, and the producers ought to be ashamed for even putting her in the movie. She did not belong in that movie. If you had put a funny female in that movie, I think you could have done very well. Like Catherine Hahn. That's a short list. Who else? I don't know. Even Sigourney Weaver is funny in Galaxy Quest. But Thandie Newton, way too serious in my view. Clint Miller, not quite a drama, not quite a comedy, a dramedy? Dramedy? Isn't a camel a horse created by a committee? Yeah, dromedary. I messed that up. Sorry. Yeah, you know what I say about dramedies, like the comedy undermines the drama undermines the comedy, and you get this lukewarm thing that's not either. So the people who want to laugh aren't quite happy, and the people who want drama aren't quite happy. It's like, just, make up your mind. Just make a comedy. Paul Rudd's good in a comedy. That's why you hired him. It's not that hard to promote either. And here's the dumbest part of not promoting it as a comedy, if it was meant to be a comedy. The people who want to see the comedy don't go see it, and you're pleasing no one by promoting it as a drama. You're not going to get it overseas. Either way, look at the overseas on Power Ballot. $372,000. It's a joke. It's not even worth sending overseas. At that kind of money. Who the hell was going to see this? I guess some of the fans of the Jonas Brothers, but that he wasn't enough of a draw. So promote it as a comedy. I don't think, look, distributors may say no because it's a comedy, but people are dying for comedies. I think it would have done mildly better. It wouldn't have made the difference, but Indie Phantom, better decision. Don't make an Anaconda comedy. Yeah. That's true too. Number 13 is Passenger, dropping from 9. This trailer looked great. I don't know what happened. $630K in its third week, dropping like a stone. Super Mario Galaxy movie at 14, $600K, still hanging out and making money. I Love Boosters. I don't love this movie. In its third week, dropping like a stone, 63% for about half a click. No thanks. Mortal Kombat 2, what happened? Dropped 77% in its fourth week, $455K. Clint Miller, wasn't Paul Rudd introduced to the public in one of the Halloween movies? Let's find out. He was in something weird early in his career. Place your bets. Was Paul Rudd in an early Halloween movie? I think he was in an early slasher movie. Jamie's Secret. Picture Perfect. A Question of Ethics. These are all early movies. The Fire Next Time. Moment of Truth. Stalking Back. This looks like all TV movies. Rebel Highway. Wild Oats. Clueless. Apparently was his first big movie. Maybe he's uncredited, though. Oh, I missed some. Did these not... Oh, there it is. Yeah, Halloween, The Curse of Michael Myers. 1995. That was after Clueless, though. So, a bunch of TV stuff. Oh, I missed a bunch of things. Indie Phantom, What the F was Passenger? Don't even remember. I Love Boosters was rejected universally. The Halloween Curse of Michael Myers, you nailed it. He played the grown-up Tommy. Rebel Highway was an awesome show. Really? What the hell was that? Inspired by B movies of the 1950s. 1994. Well, you have your answer. Nuts. Ugh. Alternative names. Kenny Chin. Oh, my whole list got closed when I flipped. All right. Go back here. Paul Rudd's early days. Yeah, Clueless, the TV series, was pretty early on. I think that's where he got his... Yeah, looks like that was really his big thing. 200 Cigarettes. Cider House Rules. That was a pretty big movie. Strangers with Candy. I remember that. Wet Hot American Summer. I remember that. Did a lot of TV movies. Friends. There's Anchorman. Anywho, getting back to the list. Passenger, by the way, it's like a horror movie. It looked good. Mortal Kombat, don't know what happened. Train Spotting, back in theaters for some crazy reason, 200K. Hokum, with Adam Scott, 59K. Looks like it's on its way out. Time and Water was 32 last week. I don't think we got all the numbers in. Indie Phantom, Rebel Highway was a sexy remake of old 50s teen rebel movies. William Friedkin, Ralph Bakshi, Robert Rodriguez, and Joe Dante were some of the directors. Wow. Excuse me. High recommendations for me. That does sound pretty amazing. Anything with William Friedkin is good. William Friedkin was just one of those guys, everything he touched turned to gold. And Bakshi, always interesting. And Rodriguez, I like Rodriguez. And premiering near the bottom, Gensai at 9,250K. Our hero, called by a different name in each chapter of his life, becomes a J-pop idol, an outcast, a leader, and an oracle in this 100-year chronicle spanning the past, present, and future. Through a chance encounter with a transfer student, he trains to become an idol, starting his search for self-identity and a journey towards greatness beyond superstardom. That doesn't sound good. And it also sounds like it's Korean or Asian. I don't know. Indie Phantom. It was made for Showtime. And on the bottom, Underland, $7,256 in 3 theaters. Documentary. This documentary voyages into worlds rarely glimpsed by human eyes to explore the world beneath our feet. one not of fear and darkness, but rather of knowledge and wonder that can be found nowhere else. Beginning in the shallow soils beneath an old ash tree, we travel alongside several astronauts of the underworld into ancient sacred caves, flooded storm drains, melting glaciers, underwater burial chambers, and a deep underground laboratory built to solve the mysteries of the universe. Very strange. Very little money. 144K. Indie Phantom. The Rodriguez one is great. Stars David Arquette and Salma Hayek. All right. 21 movies for $181,144,895. It's not a great box office for the summer, though. This is June. We should be doing some real money here. You look at 10 years ago, I bet this would be over 200 million. Can I type that in? I wonder if I could. Try June 2016. So you're going to find that. Can I go back that way? Let's see. I can go back this way and go by. I'm not clicking 10 years. I get the chart index. Oh, here we go. Here we go. Let's go back 10 years and see what the box office was 10 years ago. All right, so we're in 2016, and we're looking for June, the first weekend of June. So here we go. June 4th. No, we want June 5th. So, yeah, exactly a year. So 10 years ago today, Clint Miller, Tony takes a big swig of his iced tea, in quotes. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Out of the Shadows, X-Men Apocalypse, Me Before You, Alice Through the Looking Glass, the Angry Birds movie. Maybe this wasn't a good weekend. What was the total here? I don't think it was very good. Wow, 38 million. Is this a weekend? No, this is a Sunday. We want the weekend. How do I get to the weekend? Let's see. I'd have to add up all these numbers, or I want to see. Hold on. See if I can see the weekend. Did I click the wrong thing? I think I did. All right. Let me click the week of June 3rd. All right, this is a week domestic. No, that's this weekend. I want weekend, but I can't seem to get to it. All right, for the week of June 3rd, 190 million. So it wasn't great 10 years ago. I would have to go back really 20 years. Let's go back to 2011. 2011, the week of June 3rd. Okay, here we go. X-Men First Class. So really, you got to go back to 2011. 222 million. Still not that much more, but it was X-Men First Class, The Hangover Part 2, Kung Fu Panda 2, Pirates of the Caribbean. Still not the best. I guess we got to go back 20 years. Let's do it. Oh, here's an easier way for me to do this. There we go. 2006, June 2nd, week of June 2nd, The Breakup, X-Men Last Stand, Over the Hedge, The Da Vinci Code, The Omen, 205 million. Okay, so pretty consistent over the last 20 years. Maybe not that low. Feels like a little too low to me. But, so, really not that bad. Still lower, but not that bad. All right, I got to take a quick pee break. I'll be right back. Joan, you know the drill. Entertain the folks. You're on. Hot. It's hot. Oh, I was outside working in the yard. That's why I'm walking weird. My feet are killing me. All right. Indie Phantom. Hollywoke been treading water for 20 years. Yeah, it looks that way. Clint Miller. Joan, what are these alphabet people you were ranting about? Joan? Yeah, it's weird, right? I'm going to go back. I'm going to go back as far as I can. Let's see how far I can go back. Oh, we can go back quite a ways. Let's go back 30 years, 96. Just for the hell of it. Oh, we don't have much information. Here's the first week of June, 96. 120. So, but then again, oh, I forgot. We had to like transfer it into current day dollars 20, 30 years ago. Probably a lot more money. So, you know what? Let me ask the AI. What was the box office for the first weekend in June for all American movies? I'll do 2006 in today's dollars. Verify. I am not a bot. I am not a bot. Okay. The brave AI didn't know. Let me see if Grok knows. Grok's usually pretty good. Come on, Grok. Don't let me down. Yeah, Grok is thinking. All right, here we go. $333 million. No, wait. There's a multiplier of roughly 1.65. Thus, 135.9 million equals 224 million. So again, maybe that was in real dollars. Yeah, this is the real deal. Clint Miller, AI Tony would be much less entertaining. AI Tony, you know, I checked out the AI Scott Adams and I had to turn it off. It's so kind of creepy and sad. It doesn't really work at all, in my view. Anyhow, that's the box office for this weekend. Let's move on to the trades and see what the hell is happening elsewhere. This is Fandom Pulse. Former IGN journo Alana Pierce admits her early voice acting breaks were straight nepotism. Okay, so like everybody else in the business. Yeah, no kidding. But this was an interesting article. A jury awarded Nichelle Nichols' family $13 million for a wrongful death. So she went into hospital and suffered a heart attack, and I guess they didn't diagnose her, and she died. But she was 89. I mean, that's not an excuse, but I mean, when you're 89, so, but apparently they screwed up. Supergirl's marketing has now alienated both sides. I don't know if you call it sides. As Grace Randolph says, stop talking for the love of God. I just think, again, like, Supergirl was always a C-tier character at best, right? If you are a fan of DC Comics, you already know that Supergirl was one of these characters that was never popular in her own right. Never. Like Jimmy Olsen had his own comic for years. Lois Lane had her own comic for years. Supergirl would have her own comic, canceled. She was never that popular. Lois Lane and Jimmy Olsen were more popular than Supergirl by a wide margin. And let me tell you something. The Jimmy Olsen comic wasn't that bad. They tried to make him cool. And they tried to draw him exactly the same. So in the comics, Jimmy Olsen always had red hair and freckles. So he looked like, I don't know, like a grown-up version of the Campbell's Soup baby. And that was fine for being Superman's sidekick. But in the 70s, when he was like cool investigative reporter Jimmy Olsen, who punched dudes in the face, like, it made no sense at all. But those comics were still, I read a couple of them. They're okay. I mean, they seem okay. Like, the way they were written, you couldn't help but like them. The way they wrote comics when they were good sort of forces you to like the story. It's interesting the way they do it, because every trope in Superman is used to its maximum effect. So Superman as Clark Kent always gets picked on by the jocks, usually the sports guys in the Daily Planet, like every single time. Like, they never miss an opportunity to reinforce the whole basis of Superman. And for Jimmy, he was always Superman's pal. That was all his deal was. And then, so the stories in Jimmy Olsen, part of it would be about, do I call Superman now? No, I'm not in that much trouble. I can handle this. Like, that was always part of the story. Clint Miller, godlike characters leave me cold. Indie Phantom, seems like even Batgirl would be a better idea. Not the scrapped one, obviously. I think there were plans for a Jimmy Olsen series. Yeah, there were. And I kind of like the James Gunn Jimmy Olsen version. He was sort of like the 70s version of Jimmy Olsen. And that would have been a better idea than Supergirl. Now, you could have maybe done a Supergirl TV show and built her up, given her more of a, background, because that's what TV shows can do. You could develop other characters that then become more important. But, they're trying to just come right out the gate with this. It's just not going to work because everything's against it. But setting aside Miley Alcock's stupid interviews, it's just not a popular character. Like, Power Girl was a more popular character, mainly because she had giant cans and a uniform that had a cutout right where her cleavage was, but that's neither here nor there. Indie Phantom, I was reading a bit of Darth Vader comic online yesterday, and it was better than all the recent SW movies. Vader was getting under Grand Moff Tarkin's skin, and it was kind of awesome. Cool. There was a Supergirl TV series, and that chick was a smoke show. Yeah, and that's the other thing. Miley Alcock's body is really good, but her face is weird. I don't like her face. I don't find her face attractive. In fact, I would swap Grace Randolph's face for Miley Alcock's face any day of the week. Like, if I could take Grace Randolph's face and put it on Miley Alcock, I think that would be an improvement. Because Miley Alcock, I don't know, she's got kind of a weird face to me. Does anybody else see that? Or am I the only one? But, you know, they're trying to pawn her off as some hard drinking, you know, miserable idiot who's got to overcome trauma or some BS. There's an actual good scene with Clark, well, Superman, meeting Kara for the first time in the clip of the film. And that looked interesting because, you know, Clark is just saying, oh, you're going to love it here. And Kara just got there. Like, he meets her, like, the ship lands that Kara's in. It lands at the North Pole where he has the Fortress of Solitude. And, you know, I guess it goes there because it senses Kryptonian technology or something. And then, you know, he's like, oh, you're going to love it here. And they have kind of a friendly exchange. So this is before she becomes a miserable drunk. So, I don't know what happens. Indie Phantom. Yeah, Grace looks way more Supergirl. I see it. Yeah, I mean, she just has nice features. Like, Miley Alcock's features are kind of, they got sharp corners to them. And she's got kind of big eyebrows. A little too big. Clint Miller. Is it time for a supervillain? J.R. Ewing and Lex Luthor had a child. Yeah, and Kara doesn't really have a good supervillain. She just doesn't. She's usually fighting the Superman supervillains. And Superman doesn't have a very deep bench. It's Lex Luthor, Brainiac, and, I mean, if you're a comic guy, you could probably name about 4 more. Mr. Mxyzptlk, the Parasite, Bizarro. I mean, he doesn't have a deep bench. That's why a TV show would have added more. A TV show of Superman might have added more too. Indie Phantom. Grace is not bad looking. A few years ago, she was kind of hot, just annoying. Yeah, I'm just talking strictly looks here. I definitely wouldn't want Grace's voice. Grace's, I don't want that. Miley Alcock's voice is fine, but it all comes back to what I always say, the writing. The writing's terrible on most of these movies. I mean, they're just so far from good. You know, Scary Movie and what the hell is it? The other one, Masters of the Universe. Like, both those movies could have been good. I could have written, look, I'm not like pimping myself up too much here by saying I could have written both those movies much better, like miles better. I just think part of the thing is this. People shoot movies in weird ways. When you don't commit to a screenplay and you commit to this process of, well, we're going to shoot the movie and we're going to shoot some scenes and we're going to shoot extra scenes and then we're going to show one version and then another version, that cannot work. What you get is mediocrity by committee. You might as well sit around with a group of people and all agree on everything. And what you'll get is compromise between all those people, and all those people might be okay with the movie, but they're not going to love it. You need somebody with a vision. For Scary Movie, you needed a comedic vision. For Masters of the Universe, you either needed a comedic vision or you needed a vision like the guys who created it had. Like something really campy and weird and funny. These guys just don't have it. and I'm not pumping myself up by saying that. It's just so painfully obvious now that you could pick better writers off the street than these people. I could go to a convention of nerds and pick easily two guys to write better movies than the ones that are at the top two to this weekend. They just would have written it better. Because at least those guys would have been having fun and said, oh, what's funny? And they would just pick something off the top of their head and it would probably be fine. Most of these guys are overdeveloping everything now. Especially something like Supergirl. Like Supergirl, all it needs to be is female Superman. That's it. You just need a good villain and they fight. And she saves a bunch of people in interesting ways. That's it. You don't have to overthink it at all. The only difference is she's a girl. And you got to make it more feminine. That's all. So what's a female character to do? Well, I would give her a boyfriend. And the boyfriend doesn't know she's Supergirl. And she's constantly doing stuff to make the boyfriend look good. Using her superpowers. That would be hilarious. And he has no clue that his girl is Supergirl. But they're both in love and they're both nice to each other, but he thinks she's a little flighty and stupid, and he won't say it, but he thinks that. And meanwhile, she's the one who really makes him look good. But she totally lets it happen because she loves him and because she's Supergirl and she's that nice. That would be a fun character. Indie Phantom. That newly released Supergirl meets Superman scene was just kind of cheese. If Alcock acted sexier, we'd be fine with it. Maybe. I don't know. Clint Miller. The cartoon Skeletor is such a hoot. He is. He is. All right. Moving on. More on comic books, but who cares? Some stuff that went on this week. Insomniac removed the X-Men from their Wolverine game in latest DEI move. Who cares? This is more of the controversy of whether or not Masters of the Universe is a good movie. Kind of doesn't matter. It's going down the tubes. Oh, here was a big thing. So they were going to bring back this Stargate show, and it was looking great. They had the old guys from the most recent incarnation of the show, and I think they had guys from the previous incarnation of the show before that. And they were all very excited to be back. They were all writing stuff and doing stuff, and the fans were loving it. And then Amazon pulled the plug on the whole thing. And now it's not happening. And now there's a petition or a fight to try to bring back Stargate. Why? Well, a lot of people are theorizing, and I don't know how true this is. It's because the people from the 90s who wrote the old show didn't want to make it woke and stupid. And that Amazon wanted it to be super woke. And they just didn't play ball, and eventually Amazon said, you know, if you're not going to ruin this old IP, I don't even know we hired you. Why we hired you people. God, I ruined that one too. Get out. And they pulled the plug on the show, which is a shame because, I mean, I never really liked Stargate. I have to be honest. I kind of liked the original movie a little. It was okay. It was a cool concept. The show was just kind of like, okay, they're still doing that. It's not that great of a show, but it was okay. I mean, if they were going to bring it back and not make it woke, that would have been a good thing. Would have been a good thing for Amazon. But, I mean, that's the rumor. I don't know how true that is. It might have been they just said, this is too expensive. We need to save our money. We have to spend another $1 billion on Rings of Power. I don't know. Indie Phantom. I never watched Stargate. Might have tried the movie and couldn't get through it. Kurt Russell was in the original movie. It was kind of cool, but I don't know. I mean, it was a cool sci-fi concept, but in the end, they're not bringing it back. So now there's a fan fight to bring back Stargate. If you're interested, fight the power or whatever. All right, what's going on in Variety? Ariana Grande has gone back to singing and hopefully back to eating. More on Scary Movie. Oh, Scott Pelley was fired from 60 Minutes and acted like he got stabbed in the face. 60 Minutes, now they're cleaning house there. To which I say, fire them all. Fire all those old codgers. First off, they're all rich. They'll be fine. They're all millionaires. Leslie Stahl, all those guys, they're rich. They're very well off. But they're also very old. And they're resisting the new boss, who is Barry Weiss, who is a liberal. By any stretch of the imagination, she's a liberal. But she's an honest liberal. She quit the New York Times, basically called them all commies, and left. So for that, I think, great. She sounds like a normal person who hasn't been poisoned by communism. Sounds like the perfect person to lead CBS News. But every other week in Variety, they are bashing Barry Weiss. Oh, CBS News is terrible. The ratings went down. Oh, Barry Weiss is firing people. It's terrible. Like every week, it's another story about how terrible Barry Weiss is, allegedly. At least that's the implication I get from reading the articles. So Scott Pelley is the latest on the chopping block, so he got fired. Apparently, the rumor is he went into a conference room meeting and blew up and took it over and, I don't know, started yelling or something. And that was like the last straw. And either he quit or they just said, well, we're not going to renew your contract. Maybe they told him that and then he got mad, but who knows? Oh, I'm glad I got one of these. Clint Miller. When the Dems get back on top, we'll be buried in woke. Not looking forward to that. Well, hopefully they won't get back in. Indie Phantom. James Spader and the trans dude from The Crying Game are also in Stargate. Was he trans in that movie? I don't remember him specifically. Was he a girl in that? Or was he a dude in that? Oh, wait. Wasn't he like... Oh, I get why they hired him. Because the Egyptians, because it was like a whole Egyptian theme, they had this weird thing with their pharaohs that they were hermaphrodites. Yeah, that makes sense. So that's what they were going for. Donald Trump stormed out of a Meet the Press interview. You're either crooked or you're stupid. Yeah, he didn't like the woman who was interviewing him. Basically, he was interviewing him about what was going on in California. I think it's pretty obvious they're rigging the game against Spencer Pratt, which is a shame because he would have been in a runoff for the Democratic nominee with Karen Bass, and he might have won that. But instead, suddenly the new socialist candidate is suddenly surging and now beating Spencer Pratt. Which means your choice in the Democratic Party will be the Marxist or the socialist. Indie Phantom. He was revealed to be a dude in The Crying Game, which is actually a decent flick, but that spoiler makes it kind of a joke now. Yeah, so it looks pretty obvious. Like, Spencer was running away with second place in the Dem primary, and they have ranked choice voting in the primary, so it would have been a runoff between him and Karen Bass, but now it's going to be the socialist. Unless Trump intervenes and finds enough fraud that they'll force something. But I don't think they could do that in a primary. because I think the rules are a little different for the primaries. Like, because the Democratic Party and the Republican Party technically can do whatever the F they want. I mean, if they want to cheat, they're allowed to, I think. It doesn't look very good if they're exposed as cheaters, but, and that may still break election law, but they could still pick whoever they want. The party, I mean. They could just say, screw you, we're just going to pick whoever's going to be their running mate. It's not very fair, but I think that's the way it works, but we'll see what happens. I don't know if Trump could do much other than make the Democrats look even worse than they already do. Indie Phantom, I am also trailing in the primaries, but I'm chill with it. Well, I'm glad. God, I'm so thirsty today. Lawsuit looks to shut down Donald Trump's UFC Freedom 250 fight. So let me get this straight. You're against fun, so you thought you'd sue the government over it. I gotcha. I gotcha. Thanks a lot, whatever Democrat decided that. That's crazy. I am so mad about this UFC fight at the White House. I'm going to sue them to make them stop. Who does this? The Super Mario Galaxy movie becomes the first 2026 release to cross $1 billion. Oh, it crossed $1 billion. I thought it was already there. Let's go back there briefly. Where is it? There it is. Oh, yep, there it is. Just got over it. Huh. All right. Clint Miller. You're just a protest vote anyway, Indy. It's like that episode of The Simpsons. Don't blame me. I voted for Kodos. FCC Chairman Brendan Carr slams Scott Pelley as completely out of touch for claiming 60 Minutes firing was a surprise. Yeah, it really shouldn't have been a surprise. But I think he's just making a big to-do so he can get more work. New Spyro game, complete with franchise's first Dragonflight feature, set for spring of 2027. Well, that was kind of a popular game. I mean, I remember it, so I think it was a little popular. The White Lotus star Vincent Castle to play Napoleon Bonaparte new video game Valor Mortis. Okay, interesting. Yeah, here it is. Nithya Raman, who's the socialist candidate, takes over Spencer Pratt in LA mayor's race. That's about it. All right, moving over to Bounding in the Comics. Does Dolph Lundgren have a cameo in the new Masters of the Universe movie? I don't know. I don't think so. I think we would have heard about that. Indie Phantom. This Freedom 250 is pointless now because the TDS is way too high. I don't know. I think it's pretty cool. I like the Freedom 250 thing. I think the artists who pulled out are idiots. But I also think the Trump people who picked those artists, they're idiots too. I mean, Milli Vanilli? You picked Milli Vanilli? You don't pick Milli Vanilli. You go, we still got an hour left at the show. Who are we going to get? Well, I got the number for Milli Vanilli, I guess. Like, that's how you pick Milli Vanilli. You don't say, oh, Milli Vanilli? Who the hell wants to hear Milli Vanilli? That's crazy. Where are all the country guys? It should have been all country guys. I hate country, by the way, but I would have been fine with that because it's America 250. It should all be American music. Are you telling me Vanilla Ice was the most American guy you could get? Where's Ted Nugent? Ted Nugent isn't doing anything. Call Ted Nugent. I know he's old. So what? It's not about actually attracting young people. Like, Milli Vanilli wasn't going to attract any young people. Ted Nugent and Milli Vanilli are about at the same level at this point. Who was the other one that was stupid, too? I mean, the Commodores, they were a big act, but they're pretty old, too. One of the guys just died. He's 75. So, you know, if you need an act that's, I don't know, more urban, I mean, there's a million acts like that. You could have hired a couple of rap guys, I guess. There's a bunch of rap guys who love Trump. They would have killed to be on the set list. I think it was on purpose. I do. It might have been on purpose. Trump said, "Okay, I'll let you handle it," and then he knew the people working for him were going to screw it up, and then he comes in and fixes everything. Indie Phantom, it's true, Clint. I will do anything to spoil their fun. Clint Miller, good on you. Indie Phantom, LA gets the mayor they deserve. I picked Milli Vanilli for my birthday bash. Yeah, I bet you could afford them. LeMay, a couple of performers dropped out after getting shamed. Yeah, well, those performers are wussies with a P. Indie Phantom, Ted Nugent isn't really a draw. For the people who would go to Freedom 250, he's a draw. For the Trump fans, how about Kid Rock? Kid Rock's still a draw. His fans alone would have filled the place up, I think. I mean, look, I like Kid Rock. He's okay, but I wouldn't have gone to see him. But you know he wouldn't have dropped out. You could have had Kid Rock, Ted Nugent, again, a bunch of country dudes, a couple of rap guys, Indie Phantom. Think a rap dude is still there, Flo Rida. But who the hell is he? There's a guy called Trump's nephew. there's the guy who does the amazing Trump imitation. I think he did a rap song too. He could have come and done his song. I mean, there's so many guys. It just seems like a weird list. Martin Scorsese adopted AI to make his storyboards, and everybody had a meltdown over it, like he was adopting AI to make the movies. I mean, seems like, again, AI is a good tool. If you're going to use it, I mean, it's a perfect thing to use for storyboards. You could just say to the AI, storyboard this movie, and then go through it and edit it. Indie Phantom, Lee Greenwood, maybe. He is now being considered, I think. Clint Miller, is Topher still rapping? I don't know. I think so. Hollywood Reporter. The Tony Awards. Somebody is banging on my wall. Wonder what they're doing. Let's see. Don't care about the Tonys. There's so many terrible plays based on movies and TV shows in Broadway now. It's crazy. Meet Hollywood's other Jeffrey Epsteins? I don't think I want to. One is a music booker at the center of Trump's Freedom 250 fiasco. Okay. I'll pass. I'll just disregard your article, Hollywood Reporter. Let's see. A storied Hollywood motel is engulfed in a mysterious blaze just before becoming a landmark. Which one is that? The Hollywood Center Motel had starring roles in everything from Perry Mason to LA Confidential. How it burned down remains a puzzle that will likely never be solved. Maybe because probably by this time it's a dump? I mean, I don't know. Sounds pretty old. The Rockford Files was shot there. Aw, I love that show. Oh, maybe it's just a fire. I don't know. Let's see. Obsession crosses 200 million globally, becomes a Focus top movie of all time. Oh, Focus's top movie of all time. Ghostbusters Night Shift, Netflix and Sony Animation revealed title and logo for new series. Correct me if I'm wrong, but this logo is terrible. Absolutely terrible. Why would you ruin the Ghostbusters logo like this? This doesn't bode well for whatever show they're making. Indie Phantom, Broadway seems a bit lamer lately. I used to visit a bit when I was younger, and there were endless cool shows with some great actors you could see live. Excuse me. My theory with Broadway is this. Back in the 70s and 80s, Broadway was really the only place you could see a lot of plays and shows. It was the cultural center of America, to a great respect. And cities, other cities too, had them too, but it was always New York, and then the plays and musicals would tour to the major cities, like Philadelphia near me and other places. And that's the way it rolled. So cities were the center of culture, and you had to go to the city to see something like that. It was very rare that out in the sticks they had a playhouse that would do a performance worth even going to. That's completely changed now. In Hamilton, New Jersey, which used to be the biggest podunk town in South Jersey, blueberry farms and just farming folk, now has 2 live theaters. 2. A wine bar, restaurants galore, and it's pretty crazy. So they have all sorts of plays. You could see pretty much everything. You know, all the standards and various musicals have been at these theaters. So you don't even need to go to Philadelphia anymore. And there are other playhouses locally that show stuff and have performances. The colleges do them. They're everywhere now. Same thing with restaurants. Same thing with museums. There's museums all over South Jersey, I found out. You know, they're not that big. They're not as big as, say, the Metropolitan Museum of Art in New York, but I don't have to go all the way in New York and pay parking and spend the day there and spend hours driving in and out. It's way better to go to a smaller venue and see this stuff now, because it's everywhere. Like, I saw the Book of Mormon in New York, and it was great, but I also had seats that cost $500 a pop. I didn't pay for them. Somebody gave it to us as a gift. And we were in the worst seats possible, and we were practically above the stage looking down. I would have much rather seen a show like that in Hamilton with actors I never heard of, because I never heard of the actors in the show I saw, and seen the same show. If it was halfway competent, it would have been a better experience. I wouldn't have had to drive to New York. I wouldn't feel guilty about spending $1,000 to see one show. And I'm sure I could have gotten something to eat that didn't cost me a gazillion dollars like it did at the show at the theater. I forget what I got, but it cost me a ridiculous sum. So, Indie Phantom, that's great for local talent. Yeah, well, it's weird though. The system, last I heard, I have a friend who was in my improv group, and he was an actor in Philadelphia, and he told me he had to get a P.O. box in New York to convince casting directors that he lived in New York. So that way he could get jobs in Philadelphia. Because if you got cast out of New York, you would be more highly considered than being cast out of Philadelphia. It was some ridiculous thing like that. Now that may no longer be true, because now actors literally audition on the internet. They read something, they shoot it, and they email it. But that was the case, at least then. And this would have been like 2005, I guess, 20 years ago. Indie Phantom, live theater I could see making a huge comeback. Would like to see the craft of writing return with new stuff and not just endless revivals. That is where writers and actors can hone their craft. Yeah, I mean, Hamilton even had what's known as the Fringe Festival, and I did the Fringe Festival when it was in Philadelphia with my improv group. And the Fringe Festival started out in Edinburgh, Scotland, and basically what it was, if you sign up for the Fringe Festival, your city or town, in this case of Hamilton, the idea is every local artist is afforded a stage to perform something. Now you have to set it up yourself, but because the Fringe Festival does all the ticketing and a lot of the legwork to advertise the shows in Philadelphia, where it was notoriously hard for our improv group to get a venue to perform, during the Fringe Festival, we would be booked solid. We'd be booked for a solid week of shows, sometimes 2 nights a week, and we'd have audience because we would be advertised in the big Fringe Festival book, and people would see a bunch of shows. So they would come to your show and then go see 2 more shows and then go out to eat or whatever. So depending on how long your show was and what it was. And so Hamilton did this. I was shocked because I didn't even know about it until I showed up. And I was sort of part of it. The local coffee shop wanted something arty, so I did a Pineys signing at the coffee shop. And but it was a big hit. And that was Hamilton doing it, which, you know, it turns out a lot of artists in Hamilton, at least enough to do a Fringe show. Indie Phantom, dialogue and characters driven material. Yeah, or they just do cool stuff. So like one year at the Fringe, they had guys who did they were sword fighting guys. So they were actors, but they specialized in doing a lot of like swashbuckling stuff. So they had a whole show where they fought with swords and did little stunts and involved the audience. It was pretty cool. And they had like a whole banter back and forth. There was another guy one year. He did Hamlet all by himself, but he used Legos for the other characters. So he essentially, the only role he played, there's this monologue of a guard. I think it's Hamlet. I think it's Hamlet. It's either Hamlet or King Lear, I forget. But he did the entire play himself, and the Legos were all the other characters. So he moved the Legos around and did the other voices. But then at the end, he did the guard. I guess I want to say Hamlet. But it was pretty cool. He had a meltdown though when somebody kept coming in and out of his performance. He was mad. Indie Phantom. I love the Fringe festivals. It was huge in Vancouver when I lived there, and some of the plays were amazing and lots of edgy stuff too. Something for everyone. Yeah, there was weird stuff too. Like the Lemon Lady was one where she took this art studio and filled it with lemons and then danced over the lemons, like basically rolled over the lemons. The place reeked of lemons. Then there was a woman who lived in a clear box for like the entire Fringe festival. I think she showered and pooped and shaved and did things while, pretended no one was watching her. Weird. It was weird. But some of it was really entertaining. Indie Phantom. Dinner theater was huge too. Yeah, there's a lot of mystery theaters near me. So they'll do the thing where you go to dinner and the actors are, they're like all the characters from Clue or something, and there's a murder and you're in it too, but they're doing most of the heavy lifting in terms of the performance, and then you find out you try to figure out who the murderer is. But anywho, so new Ghostbusters Night Shift. So finally they're trying to turn this into a TV show. I don't have a lot of faith in this, simply because Ghostbusters really hasn't been funny since the first one. I mean, the second one had its moments, but really nothing's lived up to the first one. Nothing in my view. But it's just another thing they're going to milk, I guess. Executive producers Jason Reitman and Gil Keenan revealed the title and event in New York City on Saturday. This is a terrible logo. I hate this logo. So they're going to try to get monsters involved in it. So, sure. I guess that's what the logo indicates. They're going to have more monsters in it. But I don't know why you would change the logo this way. It's just stupid. So, but people love to dress up as the Ghostbusters and pretend they're Ghostbusters, I guess. I love the first movie. I wish they could get some funny guys to, do some more. All right. Let's move on to Bleeding Fool. A collection of Stan Lee's Amazing Spider-Man newspaper strips announced. They were okay. They weren't great, though. Clint Miller, Professor Plum in the billiards room with a candlestick. Apple TV Plus hit for All Mankind heads towards explosive final season. I never liked this show. I blasted it for my trailer analysis. It looked kind of like a woke version of like the early days of NASA trying to involve women in it for some reason. I don't know. I don't know what. I don't get it. I never watched it, but whatever. Clint Miller. Will there ever be a Pineys logo? There is a Pineys logo. It's on all the books. You mean like a Pineys logo, like the Ghostbusters logo? I don't know. I guess you could make one. What would that be? It'd probably be like, if Hemingway designed it, it would probably be like a devil getting his head blown off by a gun or something. Getting blown in half by a shotgun. Kevin Feige confirms major Spider-Man film franchise reset. That could either be really good or really bad. I don't know. Indie Phantom sounds horrible and woke-tarded. Yeah, that's the way it looked to me for All Mankind. Kevin Feige's reset for Spider-Man. Spider-Man didn't need a reset, but you were kind of forced into it by the storyline. So we'll see what happens. Hopefully they'll continue to make good Spider-Man movies. But this could be the movie that finally kills it. Tarantino slams Hollywood but gives rare praise to Netflix. Okay. Indie Phantom, another reset. Yeah, it seems unnecessary for Spider-Man reset, but they kind of don't have a choice. But why is Tarantino praising Netflix? Let's find out, I guess. Because they gave him money? Why is he the go-to old guy to go to now? Mr. I'm going to do one more movie and retire. He liked The Rip, I think, with... yeah, he praised The Rip, a Netflix crime thriller. I guess that's what they're talking about. But this is the movie that Affleck and Matt Damon, said they had to keep repeating the premise in the movie because of people who watch movies while on their cell phones and iPads, which is totally my girlfriend. And I don't know. I like to watch a movie if I like it. If I don't like it, I'm just going to turn it off. But Tarantino's endorsement carries weight given his reputation and his overall negative view of current film landscape. I don't know about that. I don't really trust Tarantino's, it's fine. I mean, it's interesting to note he likes it, but he likes a lot of weird stuff. He likes a lot of weird-ass movies that I do not like. And I don't like all of his movies, so... yeah, I think he should just shut up. Deadline. More on the Tony Awards. Indie Phantom. Netflix let another one rip. Ha! John C. Reilly remembers trying to convince Leonardo DiCaprio to drop out of the Titanic role for Boogie Nights. It's about a boat that sinks. How'd that work out? I think both those movies did well, so it doesn't really matter. I don't know if Leonardo DiCaprio would have been good in Boogie Nights. Although he's very good in The Wolf of Wall Street. He's very funny in that, so maybe. Anna Faris reveals Scary Movie 6 Melania Trump joke that got cut. Classic MAGA rabbit hole? What are you talking about? Is this what you really had to fight for in the movie? A Melania Trump joke? Yeah, we got to stick it to Melania. She's so not bothering anybody. Yeah, stick it to Melania. All the people you're going to stick it to, you're going to stick it to Melania. It's the dumbest target ever. You don't know anything about comedy. They were right to cut it. You want to stick it to somebody, there's a laundry list of people you could stick it to who deserve criticism. Indie Phantom, I'm glad it was Wahlberg. Yeah, I think he did a good turn in that. Clint Miller, agree, Wahlberg. We Are the World, Michael with 898 million. Dances past Hunger Games and Twilight sequels to become Lionsgate biggest pick ever. Well, thank God. Thank God. I really didn't want the Hunger Games or Twilight to be the biggest movies that Lionsgate did. Now they have something else, finally. Although I don't think my stock at Lionsgate has still risen above what I paid for it. Jafar Panahai's 1-year prison sentence upheld by Iranian judge. Why did this guy go back to Iran? Following a retrial for his propaganda activity against the regime, Tehran Revolutionary Guard has upheld Jafar Panahai's 1-year prison sentence. On Sunday, the It Was Just an Accident writer and director's attorney Mustafa Neely announced that Judge Aman Afshari rejected their objections fully. That's a shame. I hear good things about that movie. I still want to see it. But I can see why the regime wouldn't like that movie, because it seems anti-regime. Because the premise of the movie is there's this guy who runs into, in Iran, he runs into this guy who he thinks is the jailer who tortured him, right? Because a lot of people go to jail in Iran, get tortured or whatever. So he's not sure, though. He thinks it's him, but he's not 100% sure. So he knocks him out and kidnaps him. And at first he's going to kill him. But the guy convinces him, no, I'm not the guy. You got to let me go. So rather than let him go, what he decides to do is hold on to him and track down the other people who were in the jail with him being tortured. So he tracks down some of those guys to show off the guy he kidnapped, to see if he should kill him. And he's doing this in Iran, where you're going to be in big trouble. They're probably going to kill you if you get caught doing that, no matter which way it goes. So I thought that was an interesting movie because it takes place in Iran. I kind of want to see it, and I hear it's good. So he wrote and directed it, and you could see how that would be against the regime, right? Because it's about a murderer or about a torturer in a jail. So that's a shame. So he's going to jail for his movie. How are these guys even having trials? We bombed the hell out of this place. Tribeca slams Palestinian dog sexual assault joke made by wedding entertainers Elon Gold offensive and unacceptable. Jokes. I don't know. What's the joke? Let's see if the joke is any good. Gold made a red carpet influencer. Made a joke to a red carpet influencer about being, quote, sexually assaulted by 2 Israeli dogs while filming there, making light of the alleged systematic torture and sexual assault of Palestinians in Israeli prisons. Yeah, it doesn't sound like a very good joke, but what are you doing about it? You just be slamming him? Well, I don't know what else you're gonna do. I mean, I didn't even know about this until you wrote an article about it, so who cares? Cosmic Book News. Masters of the Universe box office. 68% male audience sinks the Barbie bet. I don't know what that means. Update. The overseas numbers landed. They didn't help. Masters of the Universe managed 53.3 million worldwide, with a week 25 million from the 86 international territories. Per deadline, He-Man reboot came in lower, 11.7 million for previews its first Friday. Indie Phantom. The joke is Tribeca Film Festival. It was started by De Niro, I think. Correct. Amazon MGM still believes there's a path around to 30 million for the weekend, which is where the low end of the tracking sat. Yeah, that didn't work out. The audience was 68% male. And that's the number that jumps out. As we explained in our breakdown of why Masters of the Universe tanked, Amazon and Mattel chased the Barbie playbook, betting a male-skewing action property could appeal to all 4 major audience groups, the broader 4-quadrant crossover crowd consisting of men under 25, women under 25, men over 25, and women over 25. Are you people retarded? That's everybody. Except people who are 25. If you're exactly 25, this movie's not for you, apparently. Because it's under 25 and over 25. Is it any wonder why these movies fail? It's amazing they even get made. Where you have people, in my view, this stupid making them and crunching the numbers. How do they know the movie is... I don't understand how they can figure out the tracking, but can't figure out how to make a good movie. They can figure out how much a movie makes. They knock it out of the park 9 times out of 10. But they can't figure out how to make the movie. According to Deadline, the audience was 68% male. Dads outnumbered moms 71% to 29. No S. No S. Do you think a mom is going to... You people are so stupid. Kids under 12, boys led girls by a massive 82% to 18. No S. Really? That is not a Barbie-style crossover. No S. That is the core male He-Man audience showing up, while everyone else mostly stayed at home. Thank you. Because why? It's for boys, you morons. It's for boys. You can't make things that are for boys suddenly be for girls. You can't make things that are for girls suddenly be for boys. You can't make it happen. The only way you could make it happen is you could take an IP for girls and put a bunch of bikini models in it and have them rip off their tops during the course of the movie. Yeah, then maybe the guys will show up for that. And then you can hand out free beers, I guess. For the girls, I guess you could have turned He-Man into a romantic romp between him and Tila. I don't know. But why? Why would you do that? Why would you go to a shoe store and say, you know what? Not enough men come here. We have women coming here all day to the shoe store, but not enough men. Let's play Sports Center and have some really hot chicks in bikinis here serving beers, and then the men will come into the store. No, they still won't come because shoe stores are not for men. Men go into shoe stores like I do. I go into the mall, I pick out the 3 items I want in my head, I walk to each item and get them and walk out of the store in under 20 minutes. If I even bother to go to a mall anymore, which I don't, I order it online. The last pair of shoes I wore, I ordered them online. Men don't like going to stores. You can put all the bells and whistles you want in them. We're not going to the stores if we can help it. Women love going for the stores, by the way. So don't mess up stores for women, and don't mess up shoe stores for women, and don't mess up the brunch places for women, and don't mess up He-Man for the men. It's so simple. Indie Phantom, moms want Prada and Barbie. It ain't She-Man. Clint Miller, if you were to make a one-off Pineys movie, which of the 20 books would it look like? Excellent question. Probably the first one, because it introduces all the characters, but it doesn't have certain elements that don't really play out until 2 and 3. If gun to my head, if I had to rewrite a movie and I only got one Pineys movie, I would probably combine book 1 and 6. Because 6 has a really big ending. And 1, you would have to include most of 1, but you'd have to do a much quicker version of what happens in 1. So like 1 and 6 combined, maybe. And but it would most likely end up being 1 and 13, because they'd want the Jersey Devil in it. So that's not what I want to do, by the way. What I want to do is, here's how I would pitch the Pineys to the guys at Netflix and Warner Brothers. I would rather pitch to Warner Brothers and Paramount. Paramount, Warner Brothers, Skydance. Here's what I would pitch. Okay, you ready? All right. I think I pitched this before, but I'll just run through it really quick. So, movies, right? They do Marvel movies, right? And the problem with like a great franchise like the early Marvel movies is they're too far apart. You can't get enough movie. And what's the problem with TV shows? Well, the problem with TV shows, at least how they're made now, is there's too much. And the episodes don't stand alone. And so they just plop down 10 episodes, and then it's like 10 hours, and people don't want to spend 10 hours watching something. They don't want that kind of commitment. They like the commitment of a one-off. So what I would do is I'd combine the best of the two, and I would make each book of the Pineys a B monster movie. Because the budget between a 1-hour show and a 90-minute movie, if you budget correctly, isn't that big of a difference. So I would make 3 or 4 Piney movies a year. And that would be, it would be a movie. It would combine the best elements of a movie with a show. So it'd be first year, books 1 to 4. Second year, books 5 to 8, etc. So right now, I got 5 years worth of books. 21 is hitting in July. I finished the draft a few days ago. And the movies would stand alone, but they would also go together. Because the story in the Pineys avoids delving too deep in the characters after they get going. So like the first couple of books, I spend a lot of time with the characters, sort of setting them up, and not as much with the lore. But as the series progresses, the lore gets much more important, and the characters sort of are just there. They're progressing, but at a different rate because now they're established and you don't need to see everything. So some of the stuff that TV shows would build upon, like Shelley getting married, like I don't really build it that big. It just sort of happens in one of the short stories in book 16. We finally get to see the wedding. And it's a story because, you know, well, you know what happened if you read it. And I know Clint has read it. All right, moving on. The Wrap. Federal lawsuit seeks to KO White House UFC fight set for next week on Trump's birthday. It's just petty. It's just petty. Oh, here we go. 5 best new movies on HBO Max in June. I have HBO Max, so I might watch these movies. Let's see. First up, How to Make a Killing. Oh, this got terrible reviews. This looks bad. I'd like to see the original. Maybe the original one is good. But this got blasted. No, I'll pass on that. Pillion? Oh, the gay biker movie? It's already on HBO Max. I turned on HBO Max and was flipping through. I saw it. Yeah, no, I didn't watch this. I'm not watching a gay biker movie. Crazy. I don't want to see that. They Will Kill You. I did see this movie. It's pretty good. It's pretty good. Did anybody else see it yet? I liked it. Indie Phantom. Good pitch, Tony. I prefer a one-off. My idea of a great movie series are connected characters, but those that can stand alone, like the Pink Panther flicks. Yes, exactly. Exactly. Indie Phantom. How to Make a Killing sucked. I saw it. Did you see They Will Kill You? I think it's pretty good. I think it was pretty good. I like Zazie Beetz. She's pretty, she makes a good action girl. And I didn't feel like she was girl boss in it. The opponents, because the men she fights in the movie, they're not like good fighters. Like, she's a way better fighter than all of them. And, but like, it's the characters, right? Because, the characters, the men she fights in the movie are all like rich dudes who never had to fight anybody. And one of them's played by Tom Felton, and he's really good in the role. Ready Player One. I mean, I could watch it for free, so I might watch it just to check it out, I guess. Clint Miller. You definitely need to maintain creative control. I read some interesting books by an author named Michael Lawrence. He sold this series, potentially 12 to 13 books, and he lost control and had to stop. Oh, that's terrible. Yeah, no, I wouldn't want that. I wouldn't want that. The only deal I'll take is one where I can keep writing the books, because the moment they screw up the show, if I somehow don't have control of the show, I want control of the show, by the way. I want control of the movies and the books. I want the J.K. Rowling deal times 10. I want to be able to say, no, no, you're not race swapping half the characters, and you're not making it woke. If anything, I'd put more guns in it. And, yeah, I would want total control. I want to be in it. I want to be Hemingway. But, you know, the clock is ticking on that. I mean, it's only so many more years before they're just going to go, you're just way too old to play Hemingway. My backup choice is Eliot. And then my bottom tier choice would be like Hugo or Wallace. But we'll see how old I am before I get a call. But I've tried a bunch of things. My bottom tier thing, which isn't so bottom tier anymore, is I'm going to make it in AI. But to make it in AI, I'm going to need a lot of time, a little bit of money, but a lot of time. Like a ridiculous amount of time. However, I'm exploring it, but right now the technology is only so good. However, it's almost there. It's at the point where I can scan myself in, so I could be Hemingway, and the issue is, can the computer keep me looking like myself every time I move? So that's the real problem with AI. Like, you could scan in a picture and have the AI move it around, but the moment it moves, it kind of changes a little bit, and then every time you do it, it looks a little different. So it's the consistency of look, and to get that now, you have to spend way too much money, because you have to spend like a ton of money, and you can only do like 10-second like increments. Also, to get the music I want, I'd have to spend real money, but right now, I'm still sort of in a holding pattern on AI. I'm still waiting for it to get a little more consumer friendly. Once it gets to that point, and I don't think it's going to take long, yeah, I should be able to do it in AI. Maybe that'll be my retirement. Clint Miller, can I have a cameo as a devil? Yeah, I don't see why not. I'll let you know when I get to the point I can start, that'll be a cool thing. Maybe that's what I could do for like a Kickstarter, right? Like, I could have a Kickstarter, figure out how much money it'll cost me and how much time, and then I'll raise the money on a Kickstarter and then do a Pineys movie in AI. Maybe that's the way to do it. And then that'll be one of the tiers. I'd put you in for free, but one of the tiers could be like, oh, you get to be a devil in one of the scenes or something. Or you get to be in a cut. You get to be one of the background characters or something. Yeah, so Ready Player One, I kind of want to see this, but I kind of don't want to sit through the whole thing. So this is kind of perfect for me. Midsommar, oh my God, I hear this movie's like deadly to watch. Like, it's unwatchable. Like, horrible, terrible movie. I don't know why you're saying this is the best movies to watch on HBO? Are you sure? You sure you know what best means, the rap? Because I don't think you do. Lauren Boebert explodes at Fox News reporter over Thomas Massie romance question. F you. So apparently Thomas Massie might be banging Lauren Boebert. And if so, good for him. Because she's pretty cute. She's not too bad. And she's good to go, I think. I mean, she kind of was looking to give that guy a handy in the movie theater. So, she seems like a fun date. Bit of a red flag, though. Clint Miller, Amber is wearing her short shorts. I won't be hanging out much longer with you all. I understand. Speaking of Lauren Boebert, what time are the 2026 Tony Awards? No one cares. Okay, same stuff. All right, moving on to That Park Place. Moana live action box office tracking mirrors Disney's struggling Mandalorian and Grogu. Good. That is a stupid, stupid wig. Oh my God, it's 10 o'clock already. I gotta speed things along here. Kind of surprised, though, because I thought this movie would do well. Award-winning Book of Life filmmaker Jorge Gutierrez exits Amazon AI series after industry backlash. Okay. I think that's going to die down real quick. Mandalorian and Grogu box office collapse continues as third weekend tracking points to another massive drop. Yeah, just put it out of its misery. Netflix finally admits theatrical releases were never part of the plan. I guess they're allergic to money, or what? Maybe they're still part of the plan I theorized. They want theaters to collapse so they can buy them all and remake them in their own image, but seems stupid. Like, it seems like free money. They need movies. Why wouldn't you put your movies in them? And again, why wouldn't you just buy up a movie theater chain and make it the Netflix movie theater chain? I don't understand why you don't do this. Seems like you have the money to remake movies, to make an entire compound dedicated to Netflix and your products. But okay. Hollywood and Toto, R-rated scary movie trounces family-friendly breadwinner. Yeah, we'll see what happens next week, though, with this movie. I think this movie's going to collapse. YouTube scores again with Amazing Digital Circus crushes box office. I might have to see that thing. I guess the other ones are on YouTube, so maybe I'll watch those. Geeks and Gamers. More on the box office. More on the Mario Brothers making another billion. Surprise, Euphoria just aired its series finale. Oh, by the way, Zendaya dies in it. Spoilers. Canceled DC films we should have gotten before Supergirl. Okay. Let's see. Gotham City Sirens? No, I didn't want to see that. I mean, if you did it the way it would have been done in the 90s, super hotties in skin-tight uniforms, maybe. But no, this would have been Girl Boss times 4 or 5. Wonder Woman 3 kind of effed it up with 2. I mean, were you really going to give What's-Her-Face another bite at the apple? Not Gal Gadot, but the director. What the hell was her name? I can't remember. I want to say Patty Jenkins. Is that it? But, yeah, no. No. You should have never dipped into politics. The Authority, no, I don't think we need this one at all. Nobody knows these characters, except hardcore comic guys, I would say. Clint Miller, Sundays dies? As in her acting was that bad? Sunday dies. Acting that bad. Indie Phantom, damn Tony, I still have to finish the last Euphoria episode. I enjoyed the season overall. No more spoilers. Oh, sorry. Sorry. I just assumed you did not watch that. Michael Keaton's Batman Beyond? That would have been cool. That would have been very cool. I would have enjoyed that. Henry Cavill's Man of Steel sequel? Nah, they kind of screwed this one up. The Batman Beyond would have been fun. Green Lantern Corps? They're kind of screwing it up with lanterns. I don't know. I don't know. They're kind of, the moment you brought Damon Lindelof, you lost me big time. All right, moving over to Breitbart. Poll, J.D. Vance and Harris dominates potential 2028 candidates. So hilarious. So hilarious. Trump run U.S. added 172K jobs, while Democrat-run Hollywood lost thousands. Clint Miller, Zendaya, stupid autocorrect. I think it knows better than me. Oh, Zendaya dies, as in her acting was that bad? Oh, now I get it. I was very confused. I thought I had missed something. I always assume it's me. Lionsgate's vice chair. AI will save studio tens of millions of dollars a year. He's ready to fire everybody. Oh, he's ready to fire everybody. Oh, this AI thing? Oh, it sounds great. No more actors? Love it. No more actors. Hooray. Indie Phantom. I watched Euphoria because Sweeney, but this season lots of fun with strip club subplot that was like Showgirls. Oh, you actually watched it? I'm so sorry I spoiled it for you. I never thought, I didn't think anybody on the stream watched it. I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to do that. Disney World, Coco Melon, Peppa Pig promote LGBTQ propaganda to kids for Pride Month. Perverts. I wouldn't let my kid watch that because all that stuff sounds like wimpy cartoon stuff. Madonna gets on all fours in front of a toilet, her breast hanging out in wild Pride Month video. Gross. Gross for two reasons, but gross. Pop star Olivia Rodrigo enraged Trump used her song for a pro-ICE video. Don't care. CBS News says claims of Joe Rogan joining 60 Minutes false. Would have been a big ratings grabber, I'm telling you right now. John Nolte, Supergirl budget revealed as a whopping 175 million. Yeah, I mean, Supergirl's gonna have to make 350 million at that rate just to break even for the production, and then another 80 million. So you're looking at 430. That's a lot of moolah. Indie Phantom. It's only thing I really like Zendaya in. She has kind of a funny character arc this year where she has gone either religious because of seeing signs. It's not woke either. Really? I'm so sorry I ruined the show for you. God. And I thought you and I thought it had dropped like a little while ago, so I figured I was safe, but I'm so sorry. How I Met Your Mother actor Nick Pasquale was sentenced for more than 3 decades in prison for stabbing his ex-girlfriend. Ugh. Oh, and this was crazy too. Top Gun Maverick actor James Handy was allegedly murdered by his girlfriend's son. Isn't that awful? He was stabbed, I think. Yeah, stabbed. That's terrible. Ted Danson apologized for 1993 blackface stunt. Oh, they have a picture of it. That's I remember this. This was at the Whoopi Goldberg roast. He was dating her at the time. Indie Phantom. The last 2 episodes are feature length. Wow. Yeah, it dropped a few days ago, but didn't watch yet. I'm so sorry. Who was stabbed? James Handy. He was in Top Gun Maverick. I don't remember him. But he was a character actor. He was 81. Yeah, bizarre to date Whoopi. Yeah, you know, Ted Danson was a male model. And when he started dating Whoopi, I was like, he's dating Whoopi? He could do so much better than Whoopi. But Whoopi was pretty big back in 93, so I don't know. Victoria's Secret abandoned woke and got hot chicks back. So that's good. Finally. And real quick, over at the New York Post, I don't think there's anything here. Trump tells the Post things are going well after Iran bombs Israel, advises Netanyahu not to hit back. Oh, that sounds like it's going well. One state has the most expensive pizza in the nation, and it's not New York. I will guess California. U.S. Pizza Index. Medium pizza from 10 largest, blah, 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 blah. Indiana was the most budget-friendly state for pizza, $13.96 on average. Hawaii has the most expensive pizza, $19.70 for medium cheese. Oh my God. California wasn't much more affordable at $18.85. Oh, we do much better here in South Jersey. New York is $17.87. We do lower than that. For medium? Come on. I'll look it up right now. What's a medium cheese pizza cost in South Jersey? I think you can get it for $10. Yeah, like $10. 10 to $16. Domino's has one for $7.99. Jersey Shore is always a little more expensive, like 12 to 15. Yeah, you could get totally, depending on what day of the week you order it. Indie Phantom, it's fine. Spoilers aren't a big deal for me. Most characters seem fated to die, but maybe Sweeney lives. I will watch it ASAP because it's hard to miss spoilers. Like the only series I watched lately, but I'm going to check it out. Landman soon. Okay, I won't spoil that. I don't know any spoilers from that. I want to get some Jersey Italian food, especially fancy lasagna. Oh, we have amazing Italian food. We really do. I highly recommend the Italian places near Hamilton, but really they're all good. You can pretty much go to any pizza joint locally, and they have great Italian food. It's amazing. I could go anywhere for chicken parmesan. Almost every pizza joint will make you chicken parmesan and pasta, and it'll be good. Some better than others, of course, but I'm very picky. Sicko dresses up as Charlie Kirk and reenacts his assassination at an event hosted by his widow. Really nice guy. It's terrible. Let's see. Heated rivalry star deeply regrets resurfaced pic of symbol of the bad guys from Germany drawn on his face. Was he pretending to be Charles Manson? Because Charles Manson had that on his face, on his forehead. He carved one into his head. Filmmakers claim they've caught America's Loch Ness Monster on video. Sure you have. National Mullet Championship in Denmark. Those are pretty awesome mullets, I gotta admit. I had a mullet once, back in the 90s. California Navy sailor 25 caught in ISIS plot to kill special forces using rocket-propelled grenades and drones. Holy F, dude. You're going to prison, and I hope you never get out. Die-hard Spencer Pratt supporters devastated by late vote surge as faith in election falters. I think it's a total BS. I think they're stealing the election. The largely forgotten murders connected to Frank Lloyd Wright that had scandalized the world. Oh, I don't know anything about those. Indie Phantom. I want to get some Jersey Italian food. Maybe. Oh, I read that one. Indie Phantom. That is sick behavior. And America has a Loch Ness Monster? I have no idea. I never heard of an American Loch Ness Monster. Although I talked to a lot of Bigfoot guys this weekend. There was a guy dressed as biker Bigfoot at the show. I think we're just about done here. There was a big shooting in Ohio. Hiker attacked, dragged by bear who crushed his arm in its teeth and miraculously survives. Damn. Badass. Oh, here you go. Sydney Sweeney throws star-studded birthday bash for boyfriend Scooter Brown with Warren G performance. Oh, she must have some money. Artist quitting America 250 concert makes it look like Dems don't love America, my ex-boss Bill Maher says. Yeah, it makes them look worse. It's a historic event. Like, you can look up who did an event in 1976 when it was the 200th anniversary. That'll always be in the history books. Always. What happened in 1976 on July 4th is in the history books and will always be there. You're missing out on being part of history. Oh, it was Bret Michaels. He was the other guy who backed out. What the hell else does Bret Michaels have to do on July 4th other than play at the White House? He's crazy to drop out, in my view. Indie Phantom. It took a long damn time to prove that original Loch Ness picture was fake. Made in the 40s, I think, that hoax pic. Yeah, who cares? Like, the original one was fake. Like, the American one? Bigfoot shows up in pictures like every other month around here. Who cares? They're always fake, or they don't know. Indie Phantom. Bret Michaels is a moron for that movie, right? Billy Eichner credits A-list comedian for keeping him in show business. I credit him for ruining show business. He was leaving and you didn't let him leave? Why wouldn't you let him leave? He's annoying. Billy Eichner's annoying, in my view. Here's Bianca Censori. Still pretty hot. I don't know why what she sees in Kanye West, quite frankly. Peter Frampton jokes he did everything to enhance his luscious hair before it disappeared. Ha ha ha. Owner reveals strategy for keeping famous $1.34 burger unchanged since 2006. Cool. I assume there's no meat in it at this point. Oh, Hollywood's hunk is unrecognizable after shocking transformation for mafia film by any means. I don't think it's that shocking. I recognized him immediately as Mark Wahlberg, only fatter. I just thought he gained some weight. Indie Phantom, the Bigfoot film was a great hoax, but they said it was eventually. Yeah. So I don't even think he looks that fat. I mean, he's fat, but that could be like a bodysuit. That burger looks small, but good enough. For $1.34, yeah, you get 4 of them. Art critic who died in Brazil hotel was forced to eat her own vomit at Hellhole Baptist boarding school. Dear God, that's the worst headline I've read today. And I think that's it. Oh, wait. Monaco Grand Prix celeb sightings. All right, we'll look at their stupid outfits. We'll end on this. Who's this? Kim Kardashian. Do I care about her? Not really. Now it's Kim and Chloe. Oh, Chloe's looking pretty hot. Alex Earl. Don't know who that is. She's okay, I guess. Don't know him. Don't care about Noah Schnapp. Definitely don't care about Cynthia Erivo. Don't care about Patrick Dempsey. Michael Douglas and Catherine Zeta-Jones. Michael Douglas still looks pretty mobile. He's up there, though. Catherine Zeta looks okay, I guess. Oh, there's Donald Trump Jr. and his new hot piece, his new hot wife. Tommy Hilfiger and his wife. And that's it. That's it. Sorry, I got distracted by boobs. Not much there. Not much there in the way of outfits. Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson's first ever fragrance that smells far more expensive than it is. I don't want to smell like The Rock. I don't think he smells that good, I'm guessing. China beats Elon Musk to launch world's first commercial brain chip. Anybody want a Chinese brain chip in their head? Pretty sure you don't. Just gonna say it. I don't want a Chinese brain chip. I don't want any brain chip, but if I had to get one, I wouldn't get the one from China. No thanks. I know, I said it was done. Okay, now I'm done. Now I think I'm done. Sorry, I saw food. All right, what have we learned today? Well, we learned that even though Scary Movie apparently isn't that funny, word of mouth really made it a success. So we're probably going to get another one. Hopefully the next one will be funny. Indie Phantom, we learned that Backrooms is probably not going to beat Obsession. Probably not. We learned that Masters of the Universe is not woke. I was more shocked than you, but apparently it's not woke. Even though some YouTubers are screaming that it's woke as hell, it is apparently not. The critics I rely on, they say it's not woke. It's specifically not woke. Indie Phantom, Scary Movie is still the biggest of the franchise. Yep. We learned all about Steven Spielberg's career, and I think we've mostly pinpointed where it went wrong. We learned a little bit about Paul Rudd's career, and we're not sure where it went wrong, but I don't know. I don't think Power Ballad is doing him any favors. Indie Phantom, according to Tom at Midnight Edge, it was crazy woke. Yeah, that's the video I saw initially. He was mad as hell. Now, Dictor von Doomcock said if you watch only the first 30 minutes or so, you would get that impression. So, did Tom not see the rest of the movie, maybe? I don't know. Indie Phantom. Disclosure Day looks dumb and boring. Yes, it does. It does. We also learned about the double movies. You know, the knockoffs of more popular movies. Mostly made by the very studio that made the popular movie. We learned about the Pineys and my vision for the future. And a bunch of other stuff you'll probably forget by the time I click off for the night. And that's it for me, Tony D, and Little Joan, and Stella somewhere behind me. I want to thank you all for tuning in. What's coming up for me? Ooh, Wednesday, I'm doing my first talk. It's called Mafia Stories That Didn't Happen. So I got to brush up on all my Mafia stories for the seniors at the Stratford Senior Center. And then hopefully I'm going to sell some Pineys books anyway. Maybe I'll sell Complete Mafia for D20, which is one of my other books I don't talk about very often. It's a game book. It basically combines Dungeons and Dragons with Mafia stuff. Indie Phantom. Emily Blunt is not a draw either. She didn't help the Fall Guy. Yeah. Yeah, and Ryan Gosling probably isn't a big enough draw to save Starfighter. Oh, and we learned that, yeah, Star Wars should just go away for a while. Or altogether. Then what am I doing? Later in the week on Friday, I'm doing the Cedar Run Animal Sanctuary at 6:30. And then continuing with that, I'm doing the Wild Bird Oasis at noon on Saturday. Indie Phantom says, good luck with the talk, Tony. Thank you, sir. Should be fun. Should be fun. I usually have a good time. The old folks really, they usually love me. Unless I'm at a nursing home and they're a little, too out of it to really listen, which does happen. But they just kind of like the interaction sometimes if they're that way. But it is nice to, I feel good about going to the senior places because I feel like I'm doing something nice for the seniors, and I try to be entertaining and stuff. Oh, somebody, Alex Ogle finally joined the chat. Oh, in the end of the stream, I've been reading your second book. Oh, thank you so much, Alex. Have a great week, Tony, and everyone. I really appreciate that. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you in the next one.